Chapter 144. Dumbfounded Xiao Xian shook her head but smiled. We were just doing some business in the village nearby, but I heard that the scenery here is very good, so we came to take a look at it. It is very unlikely that we can find Chinese fleeceflower roots over 500 years old in this place. We would seek that somewhere else. Don't worry, it is very likely to find it in the deep mountains. Only now did Yuezheng Xiao realize that he must have not asked the right question. He could not help but complain inwardly. This couple was indeed open-minded. How could they find a Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old so easily? What were they doing here after they made the promise to them? Moreover, they were caught red-handed by brother Xia. What bad luck. He was a cultivated talent and she was the daughter of the county magistrate. They should have the idea of who the Xia family was, right? Why were they letting go of the opportunity of doing them a favor? Yuezheng Xiao shook his head inwardly, but he did not want to show it. So he chuckled dryly. That is true. The scenery here is indeed beautiful. Let's visit the place together? But Xiao Xian paused. I think that it is going to rain soon, so we are not going up. I suggest you two walk downhill as well. There was another change that happened to her superpower the day before. She could not only see the past and future of the strange man, but it led to another good function. The humidity and temperature in the air were all related to the vegetation, so when she took a deep breath just now, she vaguely smelled something strange. When she concentrated carefully and then inhaled again to distinguish, she could feel the humidity brought by the mountain wind and the breath of rain. It was going to rain soon. This new superpower of hers was still weak, and the range was not wide, hence the prediction period was not completely accurate. But she could easily confirm that it was going to rain soon. Yuezheng Xiao subconsciously looked at the sky, hearing what Xiao Xian said. It was sunny everywhere, how could it be raining anytime soon? Oh, she must be trying to find one excuse to get rid of them. Well, they were not friends and worse were caught red-handed for being lazy. The couple must be feeling rather uncomfortable inside their hearts. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks, even Xiao Yunduan believed so. He did not know what to say. The excuse his wife found was just too unreliable. But he nodded at the excuse and helped her anyway. Xiao Yunduan added. True, the weather keeps changing after the Dragon Boat Festival and it is going to rain soon, maybe. We will take your leave now and you two better go downhill as well. Alright then, see you. Bye. Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went down the hill together. Xiao Xian admired her husband's excuse. She had her superpower that helped her to cheat, but what about her husband? Did he read so much so that he could predict the weather as well? The couple had just walked into the village when the rain came down heavily. The couple found a farmer's family for shelter. Good that we ran off the mountain fast enough. Xiao Xian stuck out her tongue. Otherwise she had no extra clothes to wear. Yes. Xiao Yunduan was dumbfounded. So his wife was not coming up with an excuse? She really sensed the rain? He asked involuntarily. How did you know that it was going to rain soon? Xiao Xian was startled. You sensed that too, right? I saw the heavy cloud in the sky far away. Chapter 145. Guilty. Xiao Xian felt a bit guilty. She believed that it was because of Xiao Yunduan's rich knowledge that he could forecast the weather, but he was just wondering how she could tell the change of weather at the moment. He could not have remembered that there was no heavy cloud in the sky all this while, right? Sure enough, Xiao Yunduan did not remember, nor did he think of it deeply. He smiled. Oh, that is right, you are a very careful person. Xiao Xian laughed. Of course she was. But it reminded her of one thing. She should be careful when using the superpower and could just put it at bay when she did not have to use it. Once or twice would be enough, too many times might cause suspicion and lead to nothing good. The rain was pouring and soon the drapery of clouds covered the whole sky. The couple were waiting without knowing what to do. The rain came too fast, but it left fast too. Soon it would stop. But before the rain ended, two unexpected guests, namely Yuezheng Xiao and Xie Jingrong, arrived there. The two of them were soaked thoroughly. Their hair and clothes were all wet. They were in a total mess. The four of them got startled as they ran into each other again. Yuezheng Xiao smiled. Young Master Xie, second miss, we are bound together, aren't we? Xiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan. Oh well. The two of them exchanged some greetings and Xiao Yunduan added. Just tidy up and don't get cold. Come and read on our website Wuxia World site. Thanks. Xiao Xian even asked the mistress of the house to boil a bowl of hot ginger soup. Yuezheng Xiao wiped away his face and smiled. It is fine, our servants are fetching the clean clothes. They will be here soon. Their wagon was parked outside the village, which was a bit far away from here. The road wasn't flat and the rain was so heavy. These two young masters had never been through any bitterness, so they had no choice but to find a house to take shelter whilst their servants went to get the wagon. Yuezheng Xiao sighed regretfully. We should have listened to your advice and followed you downhill. It is raining. But second miss, how did you know that it was going to rain soon? It was so sunny just a while ago. Yuezheng Xiao's eyes widened. He was really curious. He had found Qiao Xian's words ridiculous when he saw the good weather. He had thought that Qiao Xian and her husband must be thinking of an excuse to stay away from them. However, she had been telling the truth. Qiao Xian lied as she smiled. I saw heavy clouds in the sky. Xie Jingrong looked at her. But there did not seem to be heavy clouds in the sky. He used the word seem, but he sounded resolute. Qiao Xian was startled, so was Yuezheng Xiao. Xiao Yunduan wasn't happy at the moment. His wife never lied. And why did she have to lie anyway? Young Master Xiao was so arrogant. Xiao Yunduan added without hesitation. There were dark clouds in the sky. Xiao Xian nodded and sounded innocent. There were. Xie Jingrong raised his eyebrows. He had always had a good memory and could never forget things after one glance. He remembered clearly that there was no heavy cloud in the sky, but could he have been wrong? Seeing the resolute look on the couple, Xie Jingrong could not help but feel unsure. Chapter 146. No need. Yuezheng Xiao laughed as he looked at him. Oh, alright, no wonder this happened. Young Master Xie never forgot whatever he saw, and he never made mistakes in remembering things. Yuezheng Xiao was thinking in a mocking way. Qiao Xian smiled. I should have reminded you more urgently. Oh, here is the ginger soup, drink it to drive away the coldness. The rain is just so torrential. Qiao Xian let out a sigh of relief, and felt lucky to have ended the topic. Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Xiao expressed their gratitude to the farmer and accepted the ginger soup. They should not get cold. Though the ginger soup tasted bad, they still took it and drank it. The farmer had never spoken with any noble, handsome young master, so she was startled by their gratitude. She got startled and staggered and finally ran away in a hurry. Xiao Yunduan said to Qiao Xian. Drink some ginger soup too, I will get you some. No. Qiao Xian took hold of him and whispered. I don't like the taste, I don't want it. But look at the weather, no. She spoke in a coquettish tone, which made Xiao Yunduan's heart throb. He flushed slightly and dropped the topic. She was healthy and had never complained about being tired after so many visits to the mountains. She should be well. Soon Yuezheng Xiao's servants arrived. They came with a well-wrapped clothes bag but not a wagon. The wagon had fallen into a water pit and was broken. Now they had to wait until the rain stopped so someone could come and fix the wagon. There was nothing else they could do at the moment. The rain was slowing down and it should be over soon. But the road to town was very far away. Qiao Xian smiled. It is lunchtime. If you want, I can borrow the farmer's kitchen to make some casual food. What do you think? Yuezheng Xiao was startled. Second miss, you know how to cook? Qiao Xian chuckled as she raised her eyebrows. It is just cooking, right? Yuezheng Xiao laughed and said to her happily, Sure then, thanks second miss, we are really starving. Qiao Xian smiled. So are we. I will just make some casual food since I will be using the farmer's kitchen. You can change your clothes till then and wait. I will be done soon. Qiao Xian told them and dragged Xiao Yunduan inside to give her a hand. Xiao Yunduan had no opinion and followed her into the kitchen. Yuezheng Xiao found the whole scene so rare. He said to Xie Jingrong happily, Second miss is so interesting, so is cultivated talent Xiao. He is willing to cook food with his wife. How did second miss manage to make him so obedient? Xie Jingrong glanced at him. Just drop it. Making him so obedient? That was not a very polite phrase to use. Yuezheng Xiao chuckled and stopped. In the kitchen, Xiao Yunduan could not help but say, Are you really making food for them? She did not have to. Xiao Yunduan wasn't pleased. Why must his wife make food for those two? Qiao Xian patted his hands and smiled. We are starving too, right? And the farmer is helping us, it should be done quickly. I can help you as well, just tell me what to do. He knew that when she was making food at home, washing and cutting vegetables as well as dishing were all done by his elder sister-in-law as well as Tao Tao. She had never done such work before. She was a nobly born daughter and did not know how to do all of these. Chapter 147. Offering. Qiao Xian agreed to his offer and then spoke to the farmer lady regarding the ingredients. After the discussion, she laughed and gave 3 chen to the lady. The lady gave 31 to the neighbors and told them to do something, so 2 children around the age of 12 went out. The farmer lady killed 1 rooster after she returned, and according to the instruction of Qiao Xian, she pulled out garlic sprouts, shallots, picked cabbages as well as eggplants. By the time the chicken was dehaired, cut into pieces, boiled, and all kinds of vegetables and seasonings were getting ready, the two neighboring children came back. They had 3 eels with them. Under this weather, the water in the ditch was rising, and the loaches and eels were seen everywhere, easy for them to catch. The 2 children had gone to the ditch to catch eels. Apart from eels, they had a dozen loaches and offered them as a present. Those things were not worth any money. They only used them to feed chickens and ducks. But Xiao Xian loved them. She had many ways of making loaches, but due to the lack of seasonings at the lattice home, all she could do was to wrap them with egg porridge and pan-fried them. With the help of the lady and Xiao Yunduan, the lunch was ready within no time. The dishes included roasted chicken with eels, pan-fried loaches, eggplant with garlic, shredded cabbages, fried egg with shallots, plus a big bowl of light cabbage soup. The lady was very concerned about the way Xiao Xian cooked, and was dumbfounded too. But thinking of the 300 won in her pocket, she said nothing. The lunch, plus the chicken, cost around 100 won. She had made a great deal of money from this lunch, so the guests could do whatever they wanted with the ingredients. What amazed her was that young Master Xiao was doing the dishes, washing vegetables, starting a fire and doing all kinds of dirty and filthy work. All Mrs. Xiao did was stir and fry the ingredients in the pan, which wasn't a very difficult task. The lady could not help but feel jealous. Mrs. Xiao, you are so lucky to have such a diligent husband. Young Master Xiao looked quiet, but he was so willing to do all these tasks, whilst her own husband never even wanted to step into the kitchen for anything. Xiao Xian threw a look at Xiao Yunduan, who looked embarrassed, then she smiled at the lady and nodded. Xiao Yunduan threw a sneaky glance at her and pretended to be calm. But actually he felt excited inwardly, and even felt happiness striking his heartstrings. Xiao Xian asked for clean bowls and gave some portions to the Lattice family, before the dishes were served. The Lattice family was out for work, only she and her youngest daughter and son were at home, who were already drooling but had made no sound. They knew that it was something their guests bought, not something that belonged to their family. Xiao Xian did not like that. Lady, try these dishes with your children. Oh, thank you so much. The woman was surprised and happy, but also felt a little embarrassed. But seeing how her children were greedy for the dishes, she did not turn her down and accepted the dishes after saying a few polite words. When the dishes were served, both Yuezheng Xiao and Xiao were startled. Yuezheng Xiao looked at the dishes and then at Xiao Xian suspiciously. He was really confused. Did she really make all the dishes? Even Xiao was taken aback. He could not think of how Yuezheng Xiao said that she was different from all the concubine daughters they had met till date. Concubine daughters were often those who got spoiled by the madam of the family and behaved like a dumbass. Chapter 148 Intention Otherwise, they were often those types of ladies who could not stand up because of the strike from the madam of the family and dared not say a thing. Or they were barely seen but were cautious and dull. Second Miss seemed to be really different. Xiao Yunduan was displeased. He said calmly, I wonder if the dishes my wife has made are catering to your tastes. We have limited ingredients in the village and I apologize for that. His wife had taken so much effort to make a table full of dishes, and they were even suspecting if they were tasty? How could a random lady make such dishes? What? Yuezheng Xiao smiled. Young Master Xiao, you have been too modest. The smell has told us that the dishes are definitely going to be tasty, let's just sit down and eat. We are starving. Please? Xiao Yunduan smiled and asked Xiao Xian to sit as well. The eel chicken nuggets wrapped in the thick soup were salty and delicious, the eel meat was tender, and the chicken nuggets were fragrant, whetting everyone's appetite the moment they were eaten. The eggplant dish was rich in garlic, and the eggplant meat was delicate. Vinegar had been added for a more unique flavor. Shredded cabbage and dried loaches also had their own characteristics. The lunch consisted of simple and ordinary dishes, but they grasped people's heart, leaving unforgettable taste in people's mind and mouth. What surprised Yuezheng Xiao and Xiao was that the dishes were made of ordinary ingredients, but the way they were made had never been presented to them before, apart from the scallion egg and cabbage soup. It was a huge surprise. Second Miss, you have cooked such great dishes, excellent. Yuezheng Xiao could not help but speak highly about the lunch. Xiao was calmer than him, but he looked as if he agreed with what Yuezheng Xiao had said. Xiao Xian smiled and replied calmly, these are just ordinary dishes, not really that amazing. Xiao Xian had never been a good cook. She could make some ordinary dishes with not so outstanding taste as before, but after she was equipped with the superpower, she seemed to be better at making dishes. She could control the fire well and had developed a sharp culinary skill. It was a subconsciously sharp sense, especially when it comes to vegetables. Yuezheng Xiao laughed. Second miss, you are really modest. Food could definitely form a relationship between people. After lunch, the four people seemed to feel more relaxed among themselves and talked a lot more. The rain had ceased and the clouds went away. It was sunny again, casting its light all over the land. Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan were ready to head back soon. The four of them waved goodbye to each other. Yuezheng Xiao could not help but say, "We are staying in the county for some more days. You can come visit us when you have time so we can treat you back." Xiao Yunduan lowered his head slightly and replied politely, "The landscape is very beautiful and there are pagodas, waterfalls to see, and we can travel by boat in the lake. We will definitely visit you when we have time." Yuezheng Xiao laughed loudly. "Sounds good. We will all go there for a trip. See you around." Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan left, as Yuezheng Xiao raised his eyebrows and looked at Xie Jingrong. "It is worth the visit, isn't it? We have met such interesting people here." Xie Jingrong threw a look at him, saying nothing more. He had not expected that Yuezheng Xiao had opened his mind and admired so openly, whilst he was the one who kept falling into the pit. On the way home, Xiao Yunduan looked at Qiao Xian and could not help but ask, "Do you intend to establish a relationship with them?" Chapter 149. Not really. He was feeling a little guilty, nervous and anxious as well. They were just a contract couple and were not in a real relationship. She was building a road for her future, which was a normal thing, but somehow he could not stand that. "Oh, you noticed that?" Qiao Xian winked at him and smiled. "You are so smart." Xiao Yunduan. He did not really want to be this smart. But Qiao Xian added, "I think that we should be better prepared for the future. You have seen how Qiao Wei treated me yesterday, and even if I didn't want to irritate her, she would come to me for no reason. Madame Qiao adores her and I am nothing in their eyes. They must be thinking that it is my luck when Qiao Wei can vent her anger on me. But we are lucky to have been granted this chance. Why not establish the relationship? We may not rely on this kind of relationship fully, but it is always better to have something than nothing. Maybe one day we can ask them for help." In one word, it was never easy to make a living. She had just realized that Qiao Wei was a stupid woman, who was spoiled and had no brain. She could humiliate her whenever she wanted, but she had no way to counter her. Her words made Xiao Yunduan feel motivated. "I will definitely become the recommended man next year, I will." He looked at Qiao Xian with a gaze full of profoundness. He was determined. Qiao Xian smiled and nodded. "Yes, fight on. I believe that you will too." She added, "Even if, there is no even if." Xiao Yunduan said seriously, "I will definitely make it." If he made it, she would not have to be suppressed or scared or anxious. Qiao Xian was struck speechless. "Okay. I believe that you can make it too." He was so confident that she did not want to discourage him. Xiao Yunduan smiled and nodded. "Yes." As the couple returned home, they repeated the matter to Ms. Fang, who was very happy for them. She could not help but praise Qiao Xian once again. Now there were wonderful fields for more than 200 mu in the family. They could have endless grains for the rest of their life. Moreover, she was also happy for her son and daughter-in-law, even though those grains could not be shared. But she also stressed to them about not revealing this matter to anyone else. Miss Fang cribbed to Qiao Xian again. Soon the spring plowing was coming. Rakes needed to be made and seedlings were required too. The matter regarding seedling was easy, but rake was not so easy to make. The problem was that not every household had bulls. There were around 100 households in Xiaoding village, but only a quarter of them had bulls. Therefore, when they needed to make the rake, they would need fathers and sons, brothers and even couples to make the rake, and do the plowing through pure manual work. Or they would need to rent the bulls with money. Bulls were expensive at that time. So, ordinary families could only rent bulls for half of the work, leaving the other half for the family members to complete. Chapter 150. Helpers. The first section of the Xiao family had plenty of money. Qiao Xian suddenly thought about buying 2 bulls for home and raising them. But Miss Fang turned around and said, "Not buying, they can be rented for other people." "What about just renting?" Miss Fang had so much money in her hands, so she was speaking with confidence. She did not care if the money was spent on renting bulls for plowing. Qiao Xian complimented her mother-in-law for being so considerate. When the rake was to be made, Miss Fang offered the money and rented the bull, so her husband and sons did not have to work so hard. They had only 7.5 mu of fields at home. The production per mu at this time was very low. The grain harvested per mu of land was just over 200 kilograms. If it was a bad year, it might be even less than 200 kilograms. The 200 kilograms was counted with shells on the rice, and only 30 kilograms of rice could be produced out of 50 kilograms crops. The whole family used to have a very tight life. With the inclusion of taros, various beans, pumpkins, winter melons and dug-up yams in the meals, they could get through the year. When the matter of rakes was solved, everyone was very happy. Miss Sue in particular, because her husband, who was the eldest son, was always the most tired of all. This year, everything became easier. However, second uncle and third uncle came to ask the first section of the family to help them make rakes. They had no bulls either, but they had plenty of money to rent the bulls, yet they did not want to spend their own savings. Miss Fang had argued about this earlier, but it did not work. The first section had offered them enough help through the years. But this year Miss Fang was really confident and acted much more fiercely. She was not going to ask Xiao Dalong to offer help. Second uncle said in a pretentious tone, "Elder sister-in-law, we should help each other, don't we always do it together? How about you finish your work this year and then come to help us? Right?" Second uncle and third uncle were trying their best to try to convince Miss Fang. Miss Fang looked at them and thought to herself that these two men were strong outside but stupid inside. She should have seen through that before. Miss Fang sneered. "Together? No thanks, Dalong and Sanlang are terribly tired people every year. This year we have rented a bull so you two families can work together and solve it yourselves." "What? Where did you get the money from?" Second uncle and third uncle exchanged a look between themselves. It must be Miss Qiao. Miss Qiao must have offered the money. So, they had a rich daughter-in-law and now they were looking down at people. They were so jealous. Third uncle said sourly, "Oh, my brother and sister-in-law are living a better life with a rich daughter-in-law married to the family." Miss Fang was startled but didn't reply when they had this misunderstanding. Instead she nodded along. The two men got increasingly annoyed. They went to elder uncle to seek family love. Eldest uncle did not dare to ask his daughter-in-law to pay for the other sections of the family, but he did not think that the spring plowing should be delayed as well. Chapter 151 Ideas. If the spring plow was postponed, the harvest by the end of the year would be ruined. That would not work. Miss Fang did not approve of it. She kept reminding him of what Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma did to them, and eldest uncle felt quite helpless. But they already apologized. Could this matter not be done by now? The two of them argued but could not talk it through, so second uncle and third uncle had to leave first. Miss Fang felt much better after telling Qiao Xin what happened. She sneered. "I am determined this time. I will never let them get what they want. We have given them so much over these years. It won't work if it continues in this way." Those people not only failed to thank them, but kept showing off outside the family, saying that the first section of the family were like their employees. Worse still, they even made up lies about the first section of the family. Her third son was getting married soon, and when they had so many daughter-in-laws at home, the daughter-in-laws would not be happy about the arrangement. Their dissatisfaction might lead to unhappiness in their own family, which would be such a pity. Those two sections of the family never made efforts in spring plowing, and Miss Fang was displeased to see that they had more fields than she did. Qiao Xin smiled. "Right, Mom? We should never let them get what they want this time, but we can also think of a solution to make them pay for what they ask from us." Miss Fang's eyes sparkled and she asked, "Do you have any good ideas?" Qiao Xin had a clear knowledge of what was going on. Her mother-in-law acted toughly, but she might not have full clarity about the situation. Her father-in-law would never allow his two brothers' family to miss the spring plow. It was a major event that could not be ruined at any cost. The second section of the family had a few sons, but the third section of the family had just one son who was only focused on studies. After he started to go to school and read, he believed that he was different from the rest of the family. He was definitely not going to the fields to do labor work. Therefore they could never make any rake or finish the plowing. It would be so troublesome if they missed the spring plow and came to the first section of the family for food, when they had nothing at home to eat. They could not just be driven out of the family, right? Qiao Xin explained all this to Miss Fang with a smile. She said that even if they offered the help, they should not do it so easily. Miss Fang smiled. "Yes, we will do as you say. I will never make them happy." Sure enough, the second section of the family and the third section of the family came to them in the evening again. Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma were present too. They were here to make an apology. The two women were not so willing to offer an apology and were really angry and irritated since that day. They had been so intimidating in front of Ms. Fang over the years. They never thought that one day they would have to apologize to Ms. Fang. But Ms. Fang was really furious this time. She did not allow her sons to offer a hand, which made the two women very worried. For the practical help they would receive, they had to tolerate the displeasure and humiliation at the moment. Miss Fang felt slightly happy as she saw how these two women behaved. So she decided to put on the air of being the eldest sister-in-law of the family. Since you all know what mistakes you have made, I can forgive you somehow. But just look at what you have done outside the family. You are never thankful. It is so cruel of you. We have offered you so much help during the past few years, and you never remember how kind we are. No wonder the proverb goes that the more help you offer, the less thankful the receiver would be. Chapter 152 Empty Words. I understand now that the more help you offer, the more greedy the receiver will be. Eldest sister-in-law. Anyway, I will let go of this matter this time, but you have to remember not to spread rumors outside. You have to be honest and down to earth as good human beings. And you should be grateful too. Otherwise you are worse than animals, right? Second uncle and the others were so irritated in their hearts. But they had no right to counter her. They forced a smile and nodded. Miss Fang felt even prouder. Just think before you do anything and don't break your eldest brother's heart. You all have sons and daughter-in-laws, grandchildren and everything. Don't keep turning to your eldest brother for help whenever you have problems. Your eldest brother is getting old and he can't really be of help all the time. Second uncle and third uncle felt very humiliated when they had no excuse to counter her words. Eldest brother stiffened and was silent. Ms. Nyo added, "Then, eldest brother, eldest sister-in-law, what about spring plowing?" "Oh yes, what about it?" Ms. Ma added. "What about going to the field tomorrow? Time is so pressing." Second uncle and third uncle nodded in agreement. Miss Fang sneered inwardly. It seemed what she said in the past few minutes were all empty words. They were never going to become independent or examine themselves. They were so used to relying on their eldest brother for everything that they could not change the habit so easily. There were always people who could not change their nature, no matter how the environment changed. Miss Fang said, "We are a family, but we still need to have an account for everything. My sons can't help you for free all the time. Instead, we can make an exchange." Second uncle and the others nodded in agreement. They agreed because the exchange would happen in the next spring plowing time. For now, everything could be agreed upon and then later left behind. Miss Fang knew exactly what they were thinking, seeing how easily they nodded. She sneered inwardly and added, "Since we need to settle it fairly, we will write it down." They were all startled. Second uncle felt very uncomfortable. "We are a family. We don't need to make it so serious, right?" "Why not?" Miss Fang sneered. "I don't want to take advantage of anyone. What if some rumor is spread again? I only trust written words." Eldest uncle could not say a word. Ms. Nyo and Ms. Ma were so angry. That episode was the bargaining chip Miss Fang could always use throughout her whole life, right? Actually, Miss Fang truly planned to do that. They were the ones who betrayed her, no? Second uncle did not want to prolong it any longer and did not think that it was a big deal, so he said, "Eldest sister-in-law is right, just write it down." Miss Fang added, "I won't let you suffer. Your rakes will all be made by us." Second section of the family, you have 8 mu of field. Third section of the family, you have 7. 6 mu of fields, right? So together with rakes, the second section of the family has 19 laborers, whilst the third section of the family will have 15, right? Any problem? Second section of the family and the third section of the family were all dumbfounded. Even eldest uncle was dumbfounded. Miss Su was startled and she was about to say something, but could not counter her mother-in-law's authority. She was feeling so hurt inside her heart. Was her mother-in-law giving herself up out of anger? What nonsense was she talking about? Chapter 153 Your words. Her man would get so tired when he had to do all the work. Miss Su almost cried with teeth clenched. "Sister-in-law, you are sure? If you are so happy about this, we are willing to assist you too." Second section of the family and the third section of the family were very pleased. Miss Fang looked at them expressionless. "Good that you have nothing against my proposal. Duan, fetch the paper and pen and write it down." "Okay, Mom." Xiao Yunduan soon got the paper and pen and wrote 2 contracts according to Miss Fang's opinions. Second uncle and third uncle made a thumbprint on their names respectively. Dalong, Sanlang, get up early to do work, don't forget about the fields. The 2 sections of the family left after getting the assurance. Eldest uncle suddenly felt guilty and he sighed. "What are you doing? Why did you agree to take all the work for yourself? My sons are going to get so tired. Miss Fang sneered. Oh, feeling sorry for your sons? I thought you would be happy. After all, they're your brothers, aren't they? Eldest uncle was struck speechless. You think that your brother and nephews would work hard? Just ask your sons, when do the fathers and the sons actually work? It is all done by our sons. Xiao Dalong laughed as Xiao Sanlang pursed his lips. That is right. Qi said voluntarily, they are even worse than me. Eldest uncle, Miss Fang threw a look at her sons and daughter-in-laws as she put away the paper and said, Don't worry, I have my own idea, just go and rest. Miss Fang also told Miss Su to tell Dalong not to go to the second section of the family's field the next morning. Miss Su felt a bit confused, but she never wanted her man to help the other sections of the family anyways, so she nodded in agreement. The next day after breakfast, Xiao Xian asked Dalong, Miss Su and Erlang to help her work in her medical field. She was going to pay them 20 won a day as before. Miss Su was very happy when she heard that, especially since she did not have to help the second section of the family. She even felt that her shovel was lighter than before. Xiao Xian had brought the seeds of Noto ginseng and false starwort from Manager Qin, and needed to plant them down as soon as possible. She decided to allocate 2 mu for each of them. There were not many fruit trees at the moment, so they had enough fields empty for herbs. If she was able to get the right buyer, then she could buy some more fields through Manager Qin and expand the planting of medical herbs. Or she could pick some households from the village and rent their fields for mutual planting. Xiao Xian had not forgotten about Chinese fleeceflower root. She told Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao about it as they headed to the mountain together. Xiao Yunduan did not follow along but asked them to be careful. It was their goal for the day when they entered the mountains. Xiao Xian used her superpower and started the search. She could see everything within a 6 kilometers range. The only shortcoming was that the road became very bumpy as they went deep into the mountains, and they were not fast enough to catch up with the superpower's speed. Xiao Xian was not in a hurry either. She was trying her best but also needed some luck. She had looked everywhere as far as she could. If they really failed to find it, then it meant that there was none existing. And that was what eventually happened. Chapter 154 Second and third section of the family. But they found a lot of delicious wild mushrooms, fresh bamboo shoots, and bitter bracken. Moreover, Xiao Xiaoqi also hunted 2 wild roosters. They also found a lot of wild lilies, but they just started to grow before the mature season. Hence, Xiao Xian didn't bother to pull them out. She was going to wait until autumn as long as she wanted. Wild lilies were not troublesome to find at all. They also found a batch of wild wolfberries. She was very interested in wolfberries, so she asked the brother and sister to take some tender wolfberry seedlings back home. They broke off a bunch of older branches, cut off the leaves and branches. She planned to take them back and place them around the flower field. In the future they would often have fresh and tender wolfberry sprouts to eat. Wolfberry sprouts were delicious in soups, stir-frying meat, scrambled eggs, salads and steamed dishes. Also, sprouts would turn into wolfberries as well. Wolfberries could be used to make tea and soup. They also passed a waterhole which was flowing smoothly. There was a long creek running through the mountains and there were a lot of fish in the pools and ravines. Especially in the water pool, big fish which were longer than a foot could be seen swimming lazily in it. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao could not help but drool over the fish which they had tasted before. But for the distance away from home, they would have taken 2 of them home. Xiao Xian was quite motivated as well. She said to them, Don't worry, when we are free in winters we can ask everyone in the family to fetch the fish together. We can even make smoked fish when the days turn colder. The fish is so big that it is the best material for making smoked fish. Smoked meat would always be made in farmers' families every year, and some frugal families would eat smoked meat for half a year. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were very happy hearing what Xiao Xian said. Smoked fish. That sounds amazing. I will bear this place in mind and we can come back in winters. Xiao Xian smiled. Then we can hunt some more roosters and rabbits to turn them into smoked meat, but they have to be big and fleshy, otherwise there would only be a skeleton left. By that time she could even find some wild boars and goats. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were even more pleased. It was getting late, so the 3 of them decided to head home. Back home, Miss Fang put the wild bracken into boiling water and blanched it over a fire, then tore it in half and soaked it in clean water. Brackens had a bitter taste and needed to stay in water overnight. But the bitterness also tasted good, like bitter melons, which was a delicious dish for people. The bitter brackens tasted even better than bitter melons. They ate up the 2 roosters and the whole family finished it all. They deep-fried the meat in the oil and it could never turn out bad. They left nothing for the second section of the family and the third section of the family. Miss Qiao heard some gossip from Miss Fang. Second uncle and Ms. Niu must have been thinking that everything was sorted, so they started to show the intimidating behavior yet again. They came to the door in anger. They wondered why Xiao Dalong and the others did not go over to help them with the fields. But Miss Fang drove them away coldly. What are you in a hurry for? I will take responsibility if something goes wrong. We have drawn contracts, right? What are you afraid of? Second uncle and Ms. Niu got really angry, but they could not do anything when they heard what Miss Fang said. Chapter 155. Here again the contract was written down and they could not deny that. Despite this assurance, they were still worried that no one would make it in time for the plowing. They got even more angry when they thought of how Xiao Dalong was helping Qiao Xian with her useless garden. Miss Fang replied coldly. That is something happening in our house, and of course it is more important. Also, Miss Qiao pays them 21 a day for the work they do. Of course they were not helping for free. What did they think? Qiao Xian had only hired Xiao Dalong for work instead of outsiders, so second uncle and the rest could not say anything about it. Miss Fang put that out on purpose just to annoy them. You can never imagine how they looked when they left. Honestly, it was so funny. Qiao Xian could not help but smile. Serves them right. This is the consequence they have to bear for bullying you all these years. If they want to trouble you again, we will never allow it to happen. Thank you so much. Miss Fang smiled so kindly. Qiao Xian chuckled. Mom, to celebrate this, let me cook tonight. I will make many delicious dishes. Miss Fang laughed. All right, make anything you want, we have plenty of money. Oh, by the way, you don't have to buy rice or flour for the shared savings. I will ask third to buy it from his share. Qiao Xian nodded with a smile. Okay, Mom, you are the best to me. Oh, my child, you are so sweet-tongued and adorable. The fresh mushrooms were washed and thinly sliced. The breast meat of 2 roosters was taken, coated with flour and egg whites, marinated with rice wine, salt, ginger, etc., and stir-fried together. 2 eels were picked from the big water tank, chopped into pieces. Some pieces of yam were added, and simmered together with the chicken pieces. Mixed mushrooms and wolfberry sprouts were stir-fried separately. The oil pan was heated, and then the dried river prawns were put in it. The sound of swish was heard as the oil sizzled. Green and red peppers were chopped, garlic was added to the stir-fry, a little soy sauce, salt, along with half a bowl of water were also put in. The smell spread across the place, appealing to everyone's stomachs. There were still some yams left, so another plate of sugar-coated yams was made. The dishes were put on the table, and the whole family was raring to get started, feeling no longer tired. It is so fragrant. I can eat an extra bowl of rice by just smelling the food. Me too. Eldest uncle opened his mouth but did not say anything about delivering some food to his brothers' families, when he thought of how Ms. Fang still held a grudge against Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma. He was very happy to see how happy his own children were. It was just that he had always paid too much attention to his brothers subconsciously. The dinner was finished earlier than usual, especially since Qiao Xian had cooked it. She did not like to cook under the oil lamp. Before the sun went down, Ms. Fang and Tao Tao helped with the preparations, so when they were done with dinner, the day was still bright. In the evening, second uncle and Ms. Niu came over again for the issue regarding rakes. Ms. Fang said the same thing again, that they had the contract, and there was no need to worry about the work getting postponed. She was not going to let her sons do the work. Following Qiao Xian's advice, she had decided to hire the family with bulls to finish the labor. Chapter 156. More angry. Although the price rose up to 18 won for 1 mu for the rake work, she was not worried about spending the money. Anyways, she was not going to tell them about it at the moment. She was going to make them anxious for a couple of more days. As for the laborers written on the paper, she was going to save them for later use. Miss Fang answered the second section so decisively that eldest uncle could not say anything about that. He turned to second uncle and responded. You can go home now, don't worry, spring plow is so important that it won't be delayed at any cost. Miss Fang understood that her husband was implicitly reminding her of this issue as well. So she sneered. Ms. Niu's eyes rolled as she smiled. You are right, eldest brother, but it is always better to be early than late, right? We are really worried about this. What about letting Dalong come to my field tomorrow, and if fifth niece-in-law has some work to do in her yard, I can ask my sons to take it over. Ms. Zhang and I can help too. She was thinking that they could get paid for the work at least 21 a day. The work was taking place right in front of their home, and it would be effortless to do the work and get paid. It sounded like a great plan. Miss Fang sneered. Second sister-in-law, you think you are very smart, don't you? Qiao Xian smiled. Elder brother and elder sister-in-law are doing great work and I don't want to replace them. If second brother is so free, why not go down to the field to finish the pending work himself? Second aunt-in-law, if you don't trust my mom, you don't have to wait for us. That won't work, we have a contract, you can't deny that. Ms. Niu waved her hands hesitantly. Ms. Fang threw a sarcastic look at her husband. In this case, just go home and wait. Could her husband see the truth? They would rather wait for others than go to the field to do their own work. They wanted her sons to take over the tough task. If they really treated the first section as a family, why did they keep mentioning the contract? They were waiting for her sons to do the labor work, they were even trying to steal her sons' easy jobs. Eldest uncle was suffocating under her gaze, and did not dare to meet his wife's eyes. But Ms. Niu did not want to give up. How about you hire 2 more people and get the work done as soon as possible? Qiao Xian replied. No thanks, I like the work to be done slowly. Ms. Niu glared at her. You don't want my sons to make money from you? Obviously I need to think about my own brother and sister-in-law first, right? Second aunt-in-law? Qiao Xian smiled as she countered smoothly. Xiao Yunduan, who found Ms. Niu to be talking too much, tugged at Qiao Xian. Dad, Mom, we are going to bed. With that, he left the place. Qiao Xian gave Ms. Niu a smile and left as well. Ms. Niu. What was she smiling for? Everything about her was so irritating. When second uncle and Ms. Niu left, they were only discussing the eldest sister-in-law. What is Miss Fang doing? What is she thinking? She can't be trying to trick us, right? Of course not, we have drawn a contract. Well, let's just wait and see if she tries to fool us, we will go and sue them. Anyways, Miss Qiao has the money to compensate us. That sounds reasonable. They were so annoyed thinking how arrogant Miss Fang had become after having Qiao Xian on her side whilst they seemed to have gotten no benefits. The following day, Qiao Xian took Xiao Taotao and Xiao Xiaoqi to the mountains in search of Chinese fleeceflower root. The herb field in the yard was not yet sorted, so Xiao Dalong and his wife as well as Xiao Sanlang were still working in it. It would take 1 more day before they were done with it. The seedling work could begin once the water was poured in the soil, which would be finished by the evening. Chapter 157. Finally hearing that their 5th sister-in-law was also working hard to make money, the 3 of them were very devoted and careful. Xiao Dalong and Xiao Sanlang were relatively innocent-minded. What they needed was to level the field well so they could face their 5th sister-in-law truthfully, especially since she was always very nice to them. But Miss Su had her own ideas. She decided to learn how to plant the valuable herbs so she could try to do it on her own for her family, and earn some extra money for herself, which would make her very happy. Qiao Xian and her team still did not find the Chinese fleeceflower root over 500 years old. They found one that was over 100 years old, but it was not enough for her purpose. They found some mushrooms and other mountainous stuff which they took home. It was in the middle of May and the mushrooms were barely seen. They were usually available around autumn. High on the cliff, Qiao Xian saw lithophytic orchids which were quite valuable, but she said nothing about them. They were at a very high and dangerous place and she did not want Qi to take the risk. Also, she herself could not reach there either. They found 3 more Ganoderma lucidum, one of which was noticed by Xiao Taotao. They picked them carefully and put them away. Qiao Xian did not put them into space. She found the other 2, and with the help of her superpower she delivered them into her space without being noticed. The space was not as greedy as before and did not steal anything from her. Gastrodia, polygonatum and other medicinal materials were also found. But they were relatively fragmented and the pharmacies may not accept them. Hence they gave them up to avoid wasting time. They even saw a herd of over 20 to 30 wild goats walking by eating grass, which made Xiao Xiaoqi drool. But the flock was very far away, and they did not have time to capture them, otherwise he would have been able to hunt and take one home. The flesh of wild goats was tender and tight. What a pity. Qiao Xian smiled. There are numerous animals in the mountains. Don't be sad, we will always run into them. But, are you capable of hunting such a large-sized wild goat? Xiao Xiaoqi smiled. Of course I am. I am not afraid of wild boars as well. I got 1 wild boar last year too. But honestly we have barely seen any wild boars in the mountains this year. Wild boars were not rare wild animals and could be seen every now and then. Some were tough and strong which were beyond Xiao Zhaoqi's reach. He only went out for those which were manageable. Wild boars had very thick skin. They were ferocious and angry, not very easy to capture. Qiao Xian would not tell him that there were many wild boars around, and that she had actively tried to avoid running into them. She just smiled and said, "It is good that we haven't run into wild boars, they are so scary. You need to avoid them too in case you come across them. You don't have to hunt them down, your safety is more important." Xiao Xiaoqi felt warm in his heart and nodded. "Yes, I will be careful." The following day they finally found 2 Chinese fleece flower roots that were growing together. Qiao Xian could tell that one of them was more than 500 years old whilst the other was around 400 years old. Overjoyed, Qiao Xian led Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao to dig them out. The 2 Chinese fleece flower roots were entangled with vines, so they cleared away a large side of the vines and the land around them, before digging them out carefully. It took them over 2 hours to get the 2 Chinese fleece flower roots out. The plants were old but not very heavy. Both of them were around 2.5 kilograms but did not resemble the figure of human beings. Chapter 158. Good things. She intended to give the one over 500 years old to Xie Jingrong, and handed over the other one with Xiao Xiaoqi for future use. Actually, she wanted to put it in her space. A 400 years old Chinese fleece flower root should be considered as treasure. Her space would not reject it, right? Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao followed whatever their sister-in-law said. They were so lucky that they not only found Chinese fleece flower roots they needed, but also another good thing called Chinese Misona. Chinese Misona belonged to the family of grass, but could grow very high, sometimes as tall as an adult. The twigs were tender and the leaves were oval-shaped, bigger than a thumb. The color was dark green, and fruits grew out of them, sweet and edible. Ripe fruits would turn black and they grew in a cluster of more than 10. Each of them was as small as the eyes of a carp. The leaves as well as the ripe fruits would give off a fresh grassy smell when bitten in the mouth. The leaves of Chinese Misona were first mashed, then wrapped with cotton gauze, rubbed with water in a pot, and the juice obtained was filtered and left for a while. A natural pure green jelly could be made in this way. When the jelly was served in the bowl with some honey as well as mint water, it would become a really good snack for hot summer. If they could find saltpeter and make ice out of it, then the snack would taste much better by adding some chopped ice in the jelly. When she had enough people working for her, she would open a dessert store. Qiao Xian chopped a large bunch and decided to plant some Chinese Misona in her flower field. She could even make jelly as a snack whenever she had time. She thought of another thing that could be used to make jelly, namely the creeping figure. The creeping fig was a far better option to make jelly than Chinese Misona. When ripe creeping figs were dried, the small seeds inside could be collected and grounded for making jelly. It was much easier to make and store that. But the creeping figs would only ripen in August and September. At this time of the year, the creeping figs were just beginning to bloom. The creeping figs were growing wildly and broadly and could be found easily. She would focus on this business in a couple of days and bring them home too. That was a plant that could survive easily as long as their vines were well planted. Satisfied, Qiao Xian asked her siblings-in-law to get ready to go home. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were both very motivated when they heard that the Chinese Misona could be used to make something tasty. They put the cut branches on their backs directly. Xiao Yunduan could not help but admire his wife's good luck. She had really found what they needed. "Darling, we will deliver it to the town tomorrow. I believe that young Master Xia wouldn't have left yet. We can give it to him face to face." Xiao Yunduan nodded with a smile. Sure. He was going to keep her company on their trip to town, especially when she was meeting those 2 men. Miss Fang did not know the details, but seeing that they had found what they wanted, she was very happy for them. Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian were unaware that the day they ran into Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Xiao, they also ran into Strategist Lu, who was working for County Magistrate Qiao. Strategist Lu greeted the 2 of them politely and even mentioned that he was trying to help them to find Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years. Xie Jingrong had not wanted to bother County Magistrate Qiao, so he had never mentioned this to him, but County Magistrate Qiao got to know about it for some reason. Chapter 159. Tricky Xie Jingrong, who had been thinking that one more helper might work better, expressed his gratitude politely but refused his help. He stressed repeatedly, "Please tell Officer Qiao that it is my private affair, and it is a big taboo to use public forces to deal with private matters. It is not good to hire so many people, otherwise I will feel really guilty about it. Those senior people in the family would blame me for it too." Strategist Lu was startled as he smiled and nodded. "You are right, absolutely right. Young Master Xie, don't worry, I will never deal with private things using public forces, never." strategist Lu informed County Magistrate Qiao about it, and the magistrate had to drop the idea of getting the staff to search for the plant or putting up the poster of offering prizes to those who found it. But he was not going to drop the idea of sucking up to the Xie family. So, he dispatched a few servants and several trustworthy policemen to seek the same in the mountains. Then he gave strategist Lu some money to look around the mountains with some reliable villagers. He even stressed that the young master Xie did not want this known to others, so everyone who was looking for the Chinese fleece flower root should stay low-profiled rather than shout around, otherwise they would be punished. Officer Qiao said to Madame Qiao happily, "There are so many mountains in the county. I believe that with so many people going into the mountains, they will definitely find one Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years old. If we find it," County Magistrate Qiao started to dream as his eyes sparkled. "I heard that young Master Xie is planning to give the plant to Madame Xie, which should be a huge favor they would owe us." The Xie family and the court in the capital were very related to each other. The Xie family had enormous contacts in the capital, and Xie Jingrong's grandfather was a lord who was in grace. It would be easy for him to get a position in the capital when he did this favor for that man. Madame Qiao got excited as well. She crossed her fingers and said, "Please Buddha, please give us the blessing. If it happens, all will work out so well." Madame Qiao's eyes rolled as she smiled. 500 years or 400 years or less, the year is not fixed. It is just a Chinese fleece flower root that is old enough. As long as we can find one that is over 100 years old or just 50 years old, the Xie family would owe us a big favor anyway. That was such a treacherous thing to say. It basically meant that no matter whether the thing found was right or not, since they made some effort, they should receive some favor. Officer Qiao's eyes sparkled. He laughed. That is a good idea. After all, he was really willing to help young master, but it was never easy to find a Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years old. If he managed to find one less than 500 years old, it could still be handy for young Master Xie. It was the effort he was exerting. Young Master Xie was talented. He was young and could not stand being embarrassed. If they exchanged a few amiable words after this, the Xie family would definitely have to owe them a favor no matter what. Chapter 160 Favored Madam. Whenever it was festival time, they could just give some presents to the Xie family, and that was how they would be able to actually shorten the distance between them two. The bigger Officer Qiao dreamed, the more he liked his wife. "You are such a smart helper." Madame Qiao smiled proudly. "We are one family and are bound together. Your honor will be my honor, so I have to pay attention to your affairs." "You are so good, haha." Officer Qiao laughed loudly. Early in the morning, Xiao Xian spread the seeds of some plants with Miss Su and Xiao Taotao, before heading to the town with Xiao Yunduan. In order to show enough importance to the matter, Xiao Xian found an appropriate-sized box from her useless dowry and put the 500-years-old Chinese fleece flower root inside it. Yuezheng Xiao had told them about their lodge when they bid farewell to each other the last time, so Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian headed directly to the hotel once they reached the town. Yuezheng Xiao and Xie Jingrong had been resting at the hotel due to the strenuous mountain climbing a couple of days ago. Hearing about their visit, Yuezheng Xiao smiled and asked his servant to invite the couple in. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian were here to deliver the Chinese fleece flower root. Xie Jingrong was overjoyed and also surprised. He thanked them again and again after seeing the large-sized, fresh-smelling plant, and headed to Mingren Tang along with them for Manager Qin to identify the age of the plant. Manager Qin was dumbfounded as well. He had never expected that they really could find the Chinese fleece flower root. He had dispatched many people from the pharmacy, and entrusted experienced hunters and farmers to go into the mountains, yet everyone failed to find anything. These two were just so lucky. Manager Qin exclaimed in joy when he saw the size. "I have seen many Chinese fleece flower roots. This size should definitely be over 300 years old." Xie Jingrong looked very happy. 300 years old would be okay, if 500 years old one could not be found. Xiao Xian smiled and said calmly, "Manager Qin, look carefully again." "Okay." Manager Qin nodded and started to observe the roots and stems carefully, trying to distinguish every single detail. They had no other devices to test the age, and the manager had to discern it with only his eyes. Over the years, he had become very good at distinguishing the plant's age. 15 minutes later, Manager Qin nodded with a flushed face. "All right, this Chinese fleece flower root is definitely over 500 years old, no doubt." "Really? Let me take a look at it." Yuezheng Xiao and Xie Jingrong spoke up simultaneously. One of them thanked Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian out of politeness, whilst the other looked at the Chinese fleece flower root curiously, as if hoping that it would bloom. That was a Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years old. It was such a rare thing. The entire group was happy after they left Mingren Tang. Xie Jingrong invited the couple to have a drink at the tea house, whilst his servant had run back to the hotel to fetch the gift. Soon the servant came over. Xie Jingrong opened the brocade box, and there was a jade lying in an apricorn-colored brocade. It looked so white and pure, showcasing some bright circles around it. It was definitely not cheap. Xie Jingrong smiled. Thank you so much, young Master Xiao and Mrs. Xiao. If you ever need my help, please bring this jade to the Xie family, and I will do all I can to give you a hand. Chapter 161. Xiao Xian's used the Xie family was going to use the Chinese fleece flower root to put in the medicine for Madame Xie. Money was never going to be enough to pay back this favor. That was why Xie Jingrong offered something else. He could tell that the couple did not lack money, or at least they were not worried about wealth. Xiao Yunduan was the cultivated talent and he was going to participate in the examination next year. Maybe he could go further than that. At that time he probably would need the Xie family's help. The Xie family would be willing to give him a hand as long as it was legal. That was why he gave them the jade, which was precisely what Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian needed more than anything else. If it had been a hunter who delivered the Chinese fleece flower root, he would have offered him the money. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian were glad. The Xie family was a noble family and young Master Xie knew exactly what they needed. Thanks. Xiao Yunduan accepted the gift generously. He did not need it, but Xiao Xian definitely wanted it. If Officer Qiao and the whole family were to treat her badly in the future, Xiao Yunduan would definitely make use of this jade. Officer Qiao was a clever man, and he would never expect that a concubine's daughter could ever make the Xie family help her. Xie Jingrong exchanged a few polite words and developed some good feelings towards Xiao Yunduan. He really liked people such as him who were sharp and direct. Yuezheng Xiao smiled. Now that the goal is achieved, we are relieved. I will treat you both for lunch today. Xie Jingrong nodded alongside. Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian did not turn them down. Xiao Xian had the intention of befriending them, whilst Xiao Yunduan had no intention of cutting off the relationship, so the couple accepted the invite graciously. The four of them ate lunch at restaurant Yanhe before Xiao Yunduan and Xiao Xian left. During lunchtime, Xiao Xian reached an agreement with Yuezheng Xiao, telling him to wait for a little longer, since she had a commodity to show him. She wondered if he was interested. Yuezheng Xiao was very interested and accepted the proposal directly. When they went home, Xiao Yunduan gave the brocade box to Xiao Xian. You can keep it. Xiao Xian smiled. Really, for me? I think that you need it more than I do. I trust that you can become a recommended man. What if you get bullied? You can keep the jade. This can ensure that everything goes fairly in the future. Xiao Yunduan felt his heart become warm. He smiled gently. No one would dare to do anything about the village examination, and I barely go out or have any conflict with anyone. You keep it so you don't have to be at the mercy of Madame Qiao and her daughter. Xiao Xian accepted the brocade box after hearing that. Okay, I will keep it and we will use it when needed. Xiao Yunduan felt really comfortable when he heard her saying, "We." He nodded with a smile. Okay. Xiao Xian smiled. I will stop here. I need to do some work. You should get back to your studies. I am going to make the commodity and show it to young Master Yuezheng. If he likes it, we will have another way of making money. The more money they had, the wider the road would be, and the stronger they would become as well. In this way she would be able to get rid of the Qiao family permanently. Also, she was going to live more happily as well. Chapter 162. Lipsticks. Xiao Yunduan smiled. Okay, go ahead. He had no idea what other strange thing she was going to work upon. Xiao Yunduan was confused. Exactly how many strange books had she read? Xiao Xian was about to say something when she ended up smiling. Then I will be off now. Saying so, she ran away. She had no time to waste. There was only half a day left. Xiao Xian asked Xiao Taotao to give her a hand. Xiao Xiaoqi joined them too when he saw them in a frenzy. The three of them came to the floral field and plucked pink roses. There were 3 colors of roses: pink, rosy, and orange. Xiao Xian had used her superpower secretly, so the flowers bloomed and the fragrance became stronger. It was the flourishing time for the roses in May. Xiao Xian had tried to keep control of the growth, yet she could not control nature's vitality too much. Moreover, she needed to get down to making lipsticks as soon as possible. If she used her superpower, the roses would keep blooming until the end of June. Apart from these, there were China roses which bloomed throughout the year. Soon they would also witness pomegranate flowers. Those were enough for her to make lipsticks. It was very easy to pick flowers, and the brother and sister soon had a basket filled with flowers. They poured the flowers into the basket next to Qiao Xian before going back to pick some more. Qiao Xian grabbed all the petals and put them into another basket. Then she put the petals into jars, one handful after another, grinding them. The juice was extracted, filtered and mixed with the beeswax in a jar, whilst some almond powder bought from the pharmacy as well as some seed oil which had been laced with her superpower was put inside. She stirred it smoothly. Then she poured the liquid into a mold and smoothed away the top. After that, she carefully put the whole thing into the lipstick tube and zipped up the opening. With that, one lipstick was done. Qiao Xian had the itch of using that lipstick immediately. It looked smooth and bright, fresh and tender, giving out the fragrance of roses. Perfect. It took almost 2 hours before the whole thing was done. It was evening when the first batch was finished. In the end, they had 12 tubes of lipsticks. They all had the same color, a beautiful deep pink shade. She was going to fetch red roses and deep red-colored China roses as well as orange-colored roses for another batch respectively. With that, all the samples would be done. She was going to mix the colors so different shades of lipsticks could be made. And she could even make use of different kinds of mountain flowers, wild flowers growing in different seasons for all kinds of lipsticks. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were confused when they saw the strange thing that their adorable fifth sister-in-law had made. Fifth sister-in-law, what is it? Is it for fun? Xiao Xiaoqi asked after some time. It was not food apparently, but was it a toy? How could it be a toy? Xiao Xiaoqi really could not fathom what it was. Xiao Taotao blinked in confusion as well. Qiao Xian smiled. That is called lipstick. Same as a blusher but for lips. Xiao Xiaoqi was still confused, but Xiao Taotao's eyes brightened. Aha! She finally realized what it was. Fifth sister-in-law, is it for lips? It looks so good, beautiful and convenient. Xiao Taotao cheered excitedly. Chapter 163 Achievements. No girl could resist such a novel thing. Xiao Taotao's eyes sparkled as she looked at the lipsticks in Xiao Xian's hands. She could not help but feel excited. Her eyes were conveying only one thing: she really wanted to try it. Taotao is right. Xiao Xian said, we can make some more these days. Taotao, I will give you one of each color as well as 41 a day for all your hard work. Thank you, fifth sister-in-law. Xiao Taotao cheered. I don't need a salary, these lipsticks will be enough for me. She had hoped to get only one because she knew that lipstick would be expensive and it would be sold for money. But she did not dare to say a thing. She would like one in each color because the lipsticks looked really beautiful. You are working for me, so you should be given a salary. My sister-in-law should be dressed pretty and wear beautiful makeup. Qiao Xian laughed. Xiao Taotao flushed out of shame. You are laughing at me? No, I am not. You are very beautiful and the lipstick will make you look even more so. The two girls were talking happily among themselves, but Xiao Xiaoqi was still confused. After a long while he found himself remarking. So, this lipstick is to dab the lips, but that would make people look like monsters. Xiao Xiaoqi could not understand the concept of lipstick. What do you mean? You know nothing. Xiao Taotao glared at him. Lipsticks work better than lip flushers. It is a very good thing. Xiao Taotao looked obsessed. Fifth sister-in-law, you are so clever and so capable. Xiao Xiaoqi. He scratched his head, not daring to say anything that might make his sister displeased. But could these lipsticks really make money? He was very confused. However, he was even less sure when he saw how excited his sister and fifth sister-in-law were looking. In one word, women were so strange. The following day, Qiao Xian, Xiao Taotao, Xiao Xiaoqi and Miss Su started to work in the floral field early in the morning. They were loaded with a lot of work. They had to make rosy, dark red and orange-colored lipsticks within the day. The three of them were responsible for picking petals, cleaning, and grinding. Xiao Taotao was a fast learner, so Qiao Xian even let her filter the juice, whilst Qiao Xian was engaged in other processes. Qiao Xian was thinking about buying some more things when she had more money, since grinding petals was a very difficult task. She wanted to get 3 jade-like small grinders to grind the petals, which should be easier than grinding by hand. They needed to improvise other tools as well. At the end of the day, everything was coming together nicely. They not only had lipsticks, but Xiao Xian even made 2 lip balms with mint and gardenia flavor. It was a cream with light green and yellow color, very good for moisturizing the lips. Xiao Taotao loved all of them. Her eyes were sparkling when she saw the lipsticks. Ms. Z's eyes were sparkling too, but she was trying to press down the eagerness. She could not afford to use such a thing and would feel embarrassed if she applied it. She could ask the fifth sister-in-law for one lipstick and put it on in her room. The lip balm was also enticing, which should be good to put on since it was transparent. Qiao Xian was quite generous. She gave each of them one lipstick of every kind. Xiao Taotao cheerfully accepted them with gratitude. Chapter 164. Miss Fang's intention. Miss Su, who did not have the courage to accept it, heard Qiao Xian's smiling voice. Just take it, elder sister-in-law. Lip balm can be used every day. It is colorless. You can also put on lipsticks to make yourself look much more attractive. You can even give it to someone else as a present. I will go into town and visit the Flusher store so I can buy some skin cream for you, which together with a lipstick will make you look much healthier. Motivated, Miss Su thought about giving one to her own sister and sister-in-law. It would be a very practical thing to add to her face. So she thanked her and accepted the gifts with a smile. When they came home from the floral field, they ran into Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma, who were still pestering the family about the spring plowing. The two women were so angry but could not say a thing. They tried to reason with Ms. Fang. Ms. Fang looked calm and replied the same thing over and over again. We have drawn contracts, you don't need to worry about anything. I will take the responsibility if your fields are ruined. That made Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma even more annoyed. It was the spring plowing. What if the plow is postponed and they had nothing to harvest before autumn? They would have to starve. Of course they were really anxious. What was Miss Fang planning? Seeing their anxious look, Miss Fang felt really glad within her heart. She was going to make them become even more anxious so they would have no heart to eat or sleep. Seeing Qiao Xian return, Ms. Ma could not help but throw her temper at her. What are you doing outside every day? No daughter-in-law should behave like this. You are so ill-mannered. Qiao Xian chuckled and blinked. Third aunt-in-law, my mother-in-law approves of my idling outside. She loves me. Miss Fang sneered and snorted. Yes, I love to see my daughters-in-law having fun and they can do whatever they want. I'm quite satisfied with them. They are so kind and well-behaved. Ms. Ma was so irritated that she was speechless. Miss Fang was being so arrogant because she had a good daughter-in-law. Well, it seemed that a rich, good daughter-in-law could make people arrogant. That made her feel even worse. Without the intention of speaking with them any more, Miss Fang said impatiently, You can go home now. I have already promised you. What are you afraid of? Do you not trust me? Ms. Niu forced a smile. That is not true. Well, okay then. Ms. Niu. We will wait until you fulfill your promise. You won't starve us, right? Otherwise we will have to come to your home to eat. Miss Fang laughed. Are you still asking again when you know about this already? Ms. Niu. Miss Fang added. But you are wrong. I have only taken responsibility for your rakes, not anything else. Don't come to me no matter whether you have food to eat. You can't keep taking advantage of us all the time. Ms. Niu was stuck in words. When the two women left, Qiao Xian told Miss Fang about lipsticks. Miss Fang did not have much knowledge of it except that it did look exquisite and made her speak highly of it. It is going to sell well, right? Qiao Xian nodded. Definitely. Cheerfully Miss Fang said, Okay, only you are able to come up with an idea like this. Keep the money well and don't tell anyone. Of course, Mom. Miss Fang smiled and stressed that to Miss Su, who promised her as well. She was not going to counter her mother-in-law. Chapter 165. Bad for money. Although she was very jealous of her fifth sister-in-law who kept making a lot of money, she knew pretty well that she was not capable enough to do the same all by herself. Therefore she was envious, yet happy in the present situation. After all, when fifth sister-in-law made a fortune, she was benefiting from it too. Moreover, fifth sister-in-law had told her that there would be numerous tasks for them to do in future, and she would be paid for all the work, like the 41 she received today. She gave 21 to the shared savings, and the remaining 21 was left for her. Qiao Xian was cooking dinner tonight as a celebration of what they had achieved in the daytime. They still had one duck remaining at home. They bought 2 ducks a couple of days ago, one for the Dragon Boat Festival and the other one was kept for this day. The duck meat was minced and the garlic sprouts and green peppers were chopped. The peanuts in the rice pot were fried until they became crispy. Then the peanuts were smashed and stir-fried together with the rest. Some steamed buns were also made which could be eaten with the fried duck meat. The others were cut into slices and stewed with the sun-dried bamboo shoots for soup. They scooped out 2 carps from the tank in the backyard and fried them on 2 sides. They added clear water, chopped pickles and cooked it with dried chilies. Another fat catfish was taken and stewed with fresh eggplants. The catfish was fat but not greasy, and the eggplants had a strong fragrance. The two dishes complemented each other. Then, a plate of dry beans and a plate of cold garlic lettuce were made alongside, which was good with the meat. Whenever Qiao Xian was cooking, everyone in the family was so glad, especially Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing, who had no idea what was being cooked, yet they knew that their fifth sister-in-law was making good things. Seeing the fish and meat served on the table, eldest uncle was really concerned about the spending. The fish was alright, but what about the duck? How could they kill ducks when it was not festival time? They were villagers. They should not live like this. The money could not be used to live such a spoilt life. But he said nothing when he looked at Qiao Xian. She had always said that she bought these with her dowry, and there was no way for him to counter it. Therefore he could only eat the food and feel guilty for his brothers. The following day, Qiao Xian asked Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao to accompany her to the town. She did not want Xiao Yunduan to come along. Xiao Yunduan's main mission was to study, and he could not possibly travel with her all the time. Also, he did not have to go along this time. She had told Yuezheng Xiao that she would bring the lipsticks to him, that was all. She was determined that Xiao Yunduan had to agree to her proposal. He kept reminding her to conceal her face so the Qiao family would not notice her. The three of them entered the town and went to the hotel. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao had never met such handsome and noble-looking young masters, so they felt a bit restrained. They were both dumbfounded. Qiao Xian stabilized them. She needed their help in the future, and needed to bring them along to experience the world so that they could gradually get better. It was normal for village people to meet city noble young masters and react like this for the first time. If she needed to broaden their horizons, she would need them to move around more often. "What have you brought for me, Mrs. Xiao? Let me have a look." Yuezheng Xiao said happily. He was very curious. Second miss of the Qiao family was a lot of fun. Xie Jingrong was present there as well. He was curious too, but he was not as unrestrained as Yuezheng Xiao. Qiao Xian smiled. "I only bring good things to you, young master Yuezheng." Chapter 166. Yuezheng Xiao's appearance. She opened a long rectangular box. Yuezheng Xiao and Xie Jingrong turned to look at it subconsciously. "What is it?" It was a white porcelain tube depicting various flower patterns in the size and length of a finger. What was this? Yuezheng Xiao was a well-informed person, but he was very confused at the moment. Xie Jingrong blinked and was confused too. Qiao Xian smiled and took out one lipstick. She removed the lid and twisted the tube. A rose-colored, creamy-looking stick came out of the tube gradually. The top of the cream was smooth and gentle, looking very beautiful. "What is this?" "Something I made, I call it lipstick." Qiao Xian smiled and explained. "Something like a lip flusher but much more handy. Qi, come here." Qiao Xian summoned Xiao Xiaoqi, who came to her with a nod. She had a husband and Taotao was also a maiden, so she could not possibly show her hand generously to other men. It would make her look less virtuous. So, Qi had to do that work. Qiao Xian pulled Xiao Zioqi's hand. She told him to make a fist and pasted it over the back of his hand. A touch of shining rose color could be seen. "Look at this, young master Yuezheng, isn't it convenient? I have other various colors apart from this. Also, don't worry, all the materials used in this are safe. They can be put on without any concern." "This is so wonderful." "It is great." Yuezheng Xiao was born in a business family which did not deal with cosmetics, but he could tell that the goods in front of him were going to be really popular. His eyes sparkled and he got excited. He could imagine that once this thing called lipstick was put out in the market in the city, it would draw the attention of many noble ladies, madams and girls. This looked much better than lip flushers. No one would want to use lip flushers when they had a tube of this. Yuezheng Xiao was a straightforward person, so he said to Qiao Xian, "Mrs. Xiao, I will take all of your lipsticks. Give me as many as you have currently. We can also sign a contract where I want you to supply your lipsticks just to me. Don't worry, I will give you the best price. You will not be tricked, I promise." Qiao Xian had been thinking that he would be interested in lipsticks, but she had not expected that the deal would be signed so smoothly. But this was exactly what she was looking for. Qiao Xian had been thinking about the buyer after she decided to make lipsticks. She was not going to expose herself for sure. It wasn't easy to find a buyer, because that person had to exceed her father's position. The person also needed to be straightforward, honest and open-minded about using all kinds of channels. Yuezheng Xiao's appearance solved her problem. First of all, this man did not think highly of her father, which was what pleased her a lot. Moreover, Qiao Xian more or less understood his personality. For example, he never looked down at her or Xiao Yunduan, and treated them equally and politely. Also, on the day when they were seeking shelter from the farmer's family, he even accepted the ginger soup from that farmer's wife politely and expressed his gratitude to her. Not every rich man would be as well-mannered as him. Since he did not need to pretend to be this polite, it showed that his behavior was real. Then, it came to Chinese fleece flower root. A Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years old was so rare that he only spoke highly of it, rather than showing any greed. Chapter 167. Straightforward people. Qiao Xian believed that no one was better suited than him as her collaborative partner. Since he was being straightforward, Qiao Xian was going to be the same too. She said with a smile, "Okay. I don't have sales channels and I want to work with young Master Yuezheng as well. I just have one condition: that you should never tell anyone that I am your supplier, especially not my father and my lineal mother." Yuezheng Xiao nodded in agreement. He had already noticed that she did not have a good relationship with her lineal mother and sister. He checked lipsticks of other colors as well as the lip balm which could be used by everyone. He was very surprised. Qiao Xian smiled and took out 2 smaller brocade boxes, each of which held 2 lip balms, and gave them to Yuezheng Xiao and Xiejingrong. "These are just small things, don't dislike them." Yuezheng Xiao laughed and accepted the box, as Xiejingrong lowered his head and expressed his gratitude. Both sides included straightforward people, and that made the deal go smoothly. Soon they came to an agreement. Yuezheng Xiao would supply them with the lipsticks tubes, and would also provide porcelain, jade, crystal for the tubes so that they could look better. He was also going to hire some designers to make the patterns on the lipstick tubes. Qiao Xian could not ask for anything more. She told him to build some tools, which Yuezheng Xiao accepted directly. He did not intend to charge her for any of this. Yuezheng Xiao paid 2 liang for 1 lipstick to Qiao Xian, but the price was going to be kept fluid in the future. It would change according to the market and could be adjusted every half a year. Qiao Xian had no objection because all these conditions were very good for her. Qiao Xian expressed her gratitude for the pricing of 2 liang per lipstick. Lipsticks were handy compared to the lip blushers, but they were not very precious. They were just novel items. Therefore, the pricing had to be reasonable. Also, Qiao Xian did not spend much on making these lipsticks. She used her own flowers and beeswax. The labor fee was the biggest expense, but 2 liang for 1 lipstick was already well enough in her budget. Yuezheng Xiao would sell each lipstick for 4 or 5 liang. Moreover, he would raise the price of the lipsticks when they were sold in the capital or flourishing cities in the south. But he also needed to make an account of the cost he was going to spend on the process. At the moment, this was the most suitable way for Qiao Xian to earn money. Since the deal had been made, they signed the contract directly and came to an agreement regarding the delivery time of the first batch of goods. Qiao Xian had 50 lipsticks and lip balms in 4 colors this time. She gave them all to Yuezheng Xiao as gifts. She was giving them full-heartedly for the purpose of marketing. These things were expensive for others, but for her, she had not really spent any money on them. It was a good way for her to obtain the favor of Yuezheng Xiao and the Yuezheng family. She intended to have a long-lasting business with the Yuezheng family, since he had a huge supply channel. Yuezheng Xiao and Xiejingrong were startled by her generosity. These boxes were worth 100 liang. Even in the noble family, 100 liang was not a small figure, and noble young masters with a relatively ordinary position in the family would only have 10 or 20 liang every month. For farmers, 100 liang was not a small figure. Qiao Xian gave it out just like that? They could see that she was not being polite on the surface. Yuezheng Xiao could not help but admire the generosity of this lady. He felt lucky inside his heart, and whispered to himself that Mrs. Xiao was a good business partner that one would not find so easily. Chapter 168. Nice to fifth sister-in-law. Yuezheng Xiao did not want to take advantage of Qiao Xian. In the end, Qiao Xian accepted 50 liang, half for each box, showing sincerity to both sides. Yuezheng Xiao could not help but smile. "Oh right, Mrs. Xiao, if you have other proposals, please consider me as your business partner first. I promise that you will never be tricked or treated unfairly." Qiao Xian smiled. "Great, young Master Yuezheng, I don't have any other business partner apart from you. I can't just establish business relationships with anyone easily." Yuezheng Xiao laughed. "That is true." He said that he would visit her home someday, and Qiao Xian agreed readily. There was nothing interesting around Shading Village and he would naturally not come over. Qiao Xian thought that it was just polite words, so she just said yes. Without Xiao Yunduan around, Yuezheng Xiao did not ask Xiao Xian to stay for lunch. So Xiao Xian left with Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao soon afterwards. The brother and sister were still in shock. Xiao Taotao was especially in a daze. After a while, she mustered her courage and said to Xiao Xian, "Fifth sister-in-law, when I reach home I will return the lipsticks and lip balms to you. I will keep the used ones because I never knew it would be so valuable otherwise. Otherwise she would not have taken in so many of them. 2 liang for one. Not 2 qian or 21, it was for 2 liang. Just keep them." Xiao Xian interrupted her before she finished her words. She smiled as she took her hands. "It is not expensive for us. Also, we have plenty of money right now already, don't we? But we can make them easily. If you like them, just keep them, no worries." Xiao Taotao thought for a while and believed that she was right. She really loved those lipsticks and did not want to give them back. She smiled bashfully. "Then I will keep them. Thank you, fifth sister-in-law." Xiao Taotao was so moved. Fifth sister-in-law was wealthy and capable of making money, and was even paying her own family for all the work, which was already quite rare. Moreover, she gave out such valuable things without hesitation. She did not think that their elder sister-in-law would do the same. So, she was going to be very kind to her fifth sister-in-law? Xiao Xian smiled. "You can tell Mom about this matter but not others, alright? We have many opportunities to make money, and you may be in charge of making the lipsticks. I will teach you and you should focus and learn properly." Hearing Xiao Xian's words, Xiao Taotao was shocked. Xiao Xiaoqi was shocked too. "But, fifth sister-in-law, that is your money-making idea. How can you teach me the method?" Xiao Taotao panicked. Xiao Xiaoqi nodded too. Honestly, craftsmen only passed on skills through generations, and even if they needed disciples, the disciples would need to work for years as slaves before being able to get the real knowledge. More so, the master would never give out the knowledge unless he was satisfied with the disciples. But fifth sister-in-law was ready to pass on the knowledge so casually. Xiao Xian was not dominated by the values and ideas in this era, and she laughed. "Of course I am passing it on to you. I would be very grateful if you could help me in doing this business." Chapter 169. County Magistrate Qiao shocked. The brother and sister were shocked. Xiao Taotao became excited. "Fifth sister-in-law, I will definitely try my best, and I will never pass the secret out to anyone else, I promise." Xiao Xian smiled. "Okay, I believe you." Overjoyed, Xiao Taotao was immediately filled with strength and confidence. It was like a dream. She had never expected that she would experience such an opportunity one day like this. No wonder their mother called fifth sister-in-law the lucky star of the family. She deserved the title. When such a big deal was done and money was earned, they decided to hold a good celebration for dinner. Xiao Xian bought some pork. When she saw the liver and kidneys, she started to drool for them and took some home as well. Then she bought a lot of ingredients for making braised vegetables, such as large and small fennel, star anise, cinnamon, bay leaves, licorice, dried tangerine peel, etc. This was to be boiled in the brine to make a pot of braised vegetables. Xiao Xiaoqi and Xiao Taotao were both excited again. The fifth sister-in-law is going to make delicious food to eat. While Xiao Xian and others arrived home, Xie Jingrong told his servant to inform County Magistrate Qiao that he was leaving the following day. He was here to seek a Chinese fleece flower root. Now that he had managed to get it, it was time for them to go home. His grandma was waiting for the plant to add to the medicine. County Magistrate Qiao had received him well before. Out of politeness, he should inform the official about his departure. Yuezheng Xiao decided to hurry home too. He needed to start the business of lipsticks. He intended to make it a part of his private business. He did not intend to share it with his family. His family was not at peace. When County Magistrate Qiao heard the message, he was shocked. He was leaving already? He and Strategist Lu had a discussion about who came to the hostel for a visit. Strategist Lu asked implicitly why Xie Jingrong was leaving so suddenly. Wasn't he here to find a 500-years-old Chinese fleece flower root? Xie Jingrong decided not to conceal the truth. He smiled. "I am lucky to have found the requisite plant, so it is time for me to go home." Strategist Lu was shocked. "You are, indeed, lucky. But where did you get the Chinese fleece flower root? I mean, there are many tricky farmers here in the mountains and I am worried that you may have been tricked. Our old master is the officer here, and if he can help you check it out, maybe its authenticity could be checked. What do you think, young Master Xie?" Strategist Lu was indeed a loyal servant of Officer Qiao. He was very devoted and always tried his best to help his master. He could even find an opportunity to help his officer on such an occasion. But he didn't stop to consider that Xie Jingrong, the lineal eldest grandchild of the Xie family, was well educated despite the fact that he had never taken the imperial examination. A strategist like him could never trick a talent like him. If he was so stupid, how could the Xie family have allowed him to go out alone? The Xie family would be worried about the trouble that might be brought about. Xie Jingrong had seen through strategist Lu's plan. Officer Qiao was trying to make the Xie family owe him a favor. How shameless that man was. How could second miss have a father like him? No thanks. Xie Jingrong replied briefly. He did not even want to speak another word with strategist Lu and asked his servant to see him off. Chapter 170. Shameless strategist Lu found him absent-minded and realized that he was trying to turn him down. He did not dare to make a scene in front of him. He pretended to put on a smile and left. He hurried back to the governmental office and passed on the message to Officer Qiao. Officer Qiao was disappointed and also a little anxious. The Xie family was a first-class family, and when he saw such a great opportunity slipping away in front of him, he felt heartbroken. Officer Qiao went to Madame Qiao and asked her for an idea. His wife was a good helper. She has come up with many good ideas during these years. He was so anxious that he went to ask her what opinion she had. Madame Qiao found it a waste too. Young Master Xie is so lucky. How can he get a Chinese fleece flower root over 500 years old so fast? Which unruly man got it for him? He should have passed the message to you first when he found a great thing like this. We must find out who that person is and punish him. Also, young Master Xie got that precious thing here in the county, and you are the officer, he should thank you too. Madame Qiao sounded so shameless when she said this. Officer Qiao was the officer of the county, but he was not a man with endowment. Why must he examine everything that was discovered out of the land? But an ambitious man like him did not find anything wrong about it. He agreed with his wife totally. What can we do? Madame Qiao thought for a while and said, Old master, don't we have a Chinese fleece flower root under 100 years old? We can give it to young Master Xie tomorrow when they leave. It could be given as a farewell gift we are presenting, correct? They did obtain a Chinese fleece flower root, which was huge. So he asked someone to confirm the age, which was between 50 to 100 years old. Officer Qiao kept the plant and decided to have this delivered, if he truly could not find the right one. Madame Qiao's words motivated him. Yes, they could just give a present no matter what. Young Master Xie would be forced to treat it as a favor. If that young man asked for confirmation from others, he could just get someone to tell him that it was over 200 years old, which was precious enough. Young Master Xie would owe him big, when he had such a precious thing delivered to him. He would definitely accept the present when he presented it the next day. Young Master Xie would have no time to turn it down. Officer Qiao found this idea to have merit. He greeted his wife and said, This is good. My darling, you have come up with such a great idea. Madame Qiao was proud too. Women should treat their husbands well. I am doing this for you, old master. You are the supporter of the family. She took this opportunity and begged for mercy on behalf of Qiao Wei. Wei is simply spoiled. She was annoyed with Xian, otherwise she would not have done that. Now she has admitted her mistake. Please don't ground her for any longer. Chapter 171. Dirty Shoes. Old master, don't worry, I will definitely discipline her and she won't mess around anymore. Officer Qiao could not help but frown when he heard about Qiao Xian. He said disdainfully, The second miss is so useless. She won't achieve anything in her life. I can just give her up, but Wei is different. She is going to marry someone good in the capital, and she has to learn to behave well. Otherwise she will cause a lot of trouble in the capital. You have to learn how to rectify her temper properly. Hearing what he said, Madame Qiao was feeling both glad and proud. She had been making plans for years and Qiao Xian was now nothing in her husband's eyes. Well, that bitch was really nothing. She was not even good enough to hold Wei's shoes. Old master is right. I have not been cautious enough. I thought that a maid could do whatever she wants when she is at her own home and that she will behave well when she is married. That is why I decided to spoil her a little. You are the one who treats Wei the best. Don't worry, old master, I will pass on your message to Wei. She will definitely understand your intention and a kind girl like her would surely correct her mistakes. As for Qiao Xian, Madame Qiao said nothing more. There was no need to mention her at all. In her eyes, she was just a weed that would stain her shoes after stepping on her. Officer Qiao was gratified. He sorted his beard and nodded. That is right. In the first section of the Xiao family at the village. The Chinese Masona picked from the day before was already planted in the floral corner of the field. Qiao Xian decided to make a meal to bring in the taste. That thing was very easy to make. The leaves were mashed, a double layer of cotton gauze was used to wrap it, and then it was rubbed in the basin with cold water. After rubbing and filtering twice, it would sit there for a couple of days. She also got a huge amount of mint leaves from Xiao, who minced it so as to extract some juice from it. She made a huge bowl of brown sugar and added some honey into the bowl. When the jelly was made, she carefully added 1 spoonful to the bowl, mixed it and added some brown sugar water, some mint juice and served it to everyone. Xiao was instantly attracted to the jelly-like texture, smooth and sweet. This is called jelly. So tasty, better than the pastry bought in the town. Fifth sister-in-law, can we sell this too? There are still many Chinese Masona in the mountains. We can use them. Yes, we can try that. Yeah, it is so tasty. Miss Fang was astonished as well. She ate 1 bowl and praised Qiao Xian. You are really clever to find such a wonderful trick. It is a good snack during summer. Miss Fang did not care if they had to use some sugar in it. Qiao Xian served a bowl to Xiao Yunduan, who was busy studying at home. She blinked and asked for praise. What do you think? Xiao Yunduan took 1 bite and the sweetness went straight into his heart. He nodded. It is so tasty, no one else would be able to think of how to make something like this. That is right. Qiao Xian was satisfied and proud too. Let me think more about this. Maybe we can add more ingredients for better taste. Mint and sugar were the fundamental things for jelly. Some other spices like raisins, chopped walnuts, almonds, shredded hawthorn, sweet red bean paste, milk, juice, chopped fresh fruits could also be added alongside. Xiao Yunduan smiled. You will definitely figure it out. Chapter 172. The most steady protection. Xiao Xian was even more pleased. She said with a smile, eat it slowly, I have other work to do. We are going to have good food to eat tonight. Okay. Seeing Qiao Xian leaving and closing the door, Xiao Yunduan could not help but feel warm. She made him so happy when he saw her making different food every day with Tao. Their home was lively, bustling. It was such a comfortable feeling. Therefore he was going to study harder and make it to the recommended man so they could all be under the most steady protection. Xiao Yunduan finished the bowl of jelly, which was sweet and fresh, and continued with his studies. Qiao Xian and Xiao Tao, when they finished the jelly, started to make braised meat. The room was filled with cheers and laughter. The whole family loved Qiao Xian dearly. She only needed to give instructions and everyone offered their help immediately. The dinner was a feast. Sour radish was diced, sour beans were cut, whilst chili and the marinated intestine were fried together. The smell of sour and spicy as well as fragrance started to spread all across. When thinking about salted duck eggs before, Qiao Xian had bought several jars. She made some salted duck eggs and century eggs, and also pickled a jar of kimchi. White radish, beans, cabbage, lettuce and ginger were all put in it as well. Everything was ready by this point to be eaten. Braised pork liver and ears were sliced, and pig trotters were placed directly on the plate whilst pork heart was stir-fried with garlic sprouts. Pork belly was stewed with soybeans and almonds for soup. It was a table full of braised food as well as 2 fried vegetables. The fragrance spread across everyone's nostrils. People in the village rarely ate inner organs, since the taste was too heavy and difficult to handle. It took a lot of oil and seasoning to make it delicious. It was better to buy meat. After all, meat was fragrant no matter how deeply fried it was. Meat dregs when stir-frying were also delicious. It was a table full of pig inner organs, which changed their minds of how the inner organs could taste like. Again Qiao Xian was highly praised. They kept saying that the inner organs could also taste so good, better than meat. The hot and sour large intestines, crispy pig ears, fragrant and brightly colored braised pig trotters, and delicious pork belly soup were all delicacies for them. The following day Qiao Xian guided Xiao Tao to make more lipsticks. Qiao Xian used the excuse of visiting floral fields to inject her superpower there. Soon the roses and other flowers were blooming across the whole yard, giving off a fragrant smell. In the meantime there were some fresh flowers that were budding. The garden was full of a beautiful sea of purple and red, making people feel really fresh. The bees were buzzing about and working hard. It would not be long before she could harvest honey again. The flowers in the yard were especially attractive to the bees, and the honey was produced in a large amount. Qiao Xian could see 3 or 4 bees picking nectar from the flowers. When they were sorting the floral fields, she had made the plan and built a 2-story shabby room. The second story was for storage. There was one middle-sized room on the first floor, whilst the other place had one wall, and 3 sides open like a workshop. Whilst the others were picking flowers, cleaning materials and grinding them, Xiao Xian was making lipsticks in the room filled with light. She asked Tao Tao to help her with everything. Since she intended to cultivate Tao Tao, she asked Tao Tao to come and learn how to do that right away. Xiao Xian did not hire anyone from the village, except for the task of flower picking and mincing. Moreover, she could just hire someone else to do other labor work. Chapter 173 Yuezheng Xiao's sneering, but that was something for later when they had built new houses. The yard at home was not big enough. While Qiao Xian was busy making money, Xie Jingrong and Yuezheng Xiao were getting ready to leave the county. When they were just about to get on the wagon, strategist Lu hurriedly walked up to them. It was really very accurate timing. Strategist Lu had planned it meticulously. He had been waiting next to their place for a long while before appearing at the right time. "Young Master Xie, please stay put." Xie Jingrong paused and turned around looking surprised. "Strategist Lu, it is very kind of you to see us off here." Strategist Lu smiled and said with a friendly tone, "You are the honored guest, it is my duty to do so." He did not dare to say anything more but handed out an appropriate brocade box. "Young Master Xie, this is the Chinese fleece flower root which our officer has found. It is confirmed that this plant is over 200 years old, which is very rare. Our officer says that he should not keep the treasure, and instead you should have it. Maybe it can be put into practical use by you. This way the good things would not be wasted. It is a gift from our officer, please accept it. Okay, I won't delay your departure. Have a nice trip, bye for now, young Master Xie." Strategist Lu said all of this with a smooth smile. When he was done, the brocade box was already in the servant's arm. He took a step backwards and turned around, leaving. He did everything really fast. Xie Jingrong was speechless. Everyone present. The servant, who was holding the box, turned to Xie Jingrong helplessly. "What?" Yuezheng Xiao laughed. He looked at Xie Jingrong and grinned. "Officer Qiao is fun, brother Xie, now you owe him big." Honestly speaking, a Chinese fleece flower root over 200 years was indeed very rare, and Xie Jingrong was taking that for his grandma. County Magistrate Qiao gave it to him so that the family could owe him a favor. Yuezheng Xiao sneered. What a tricky officer Qiao, so shameless and snooty. How did he manage to cultivate a daughter like Mrs. Xiao? Was he blind to have treated the elder Miss Qiao as treasure rather than look at Mrs. Xiao instead? No wonder Mrs. Xiao insisted that they should not reveal her identity. It would not be good. If Officer Qiao learned that it was Mrs. Xiao who had found the 500 years old Chinese fleece flower root for the Xie family, he would have forced her to ask for the favor for him. What if he learned about the lipsticks business? He would definitely do something worse. Mrs. Xiao was such a pitiful girl. She must have led a very difficult life. Xie Jingrong frowned, thought for a while and said to the servant, "Return the brocade box in the intact state to Officer Qiao personally. Just tell him that I have found the Chinese fleece flower root I needed, and I do not want to take advantage of Officer Qiao. Officer Qiao should keep it for himself." Having given the instructions, Xie Jingrong turned around, went on the wagon and ordered the staff to leave. Yuezheng Xiao was not surprised by what Xie Jingrong did. This young man looked gentle and handsome, almost as if he were weak, but he was the lineal elder grandson of the Xie family, who could never be simple-minded or fragile. He would never allow the Xie family to owe anyone a favor forcibly. No one could suck up to him easily either. Yuezheng Xiao teased him. But a 200 years old root isn't that bad either. Why not keep it for Officer Qiao's sake? Chapter 174 Badly mannered Xie Jingrong looked at him and replied calmly. "I don't think that this plant is over 200 years old. If that was the case, he wouldn't have waited until today to have it delivered to me. Moreover, I don't need it anymore." A plant over 200 years old was precious for sure. County Magistrate Qiao would have definitely not waited. Instead, he would have come to the hotel the moment he found it. He should stay away from this man as far away as possible. He already had one 500 years old plant with him. What was the point of having another one that was less impactful? Startled, Yuezheng Xiao responded. "Really? But, can he really lie to us? The Xie family would definitely hire someone to test the plant." Xie Jingrong immediately countered. "So what? He is not an expert, and maybe when he gets to know that he has got a wrong confirmation he would prepare an expensive present and come to the Xie family, telling us that he was cheated as well." Yuezheng Xiao. How horrible are people in the official field. Xie Jingrong smiled as he tapped the table. That was why he never intended to take any more imperial examination, after he made it to the recommended man level. There was more than one person in the Xie family who could become active in the industry. On the other side, Officer Qiao, who had been waiting, was dumbfounded. Young Master Xie's servant did not smile but showed a very distant look. He rode away the moment he returned the stuff. Officer Qiao felt really humiliated. He lectured strategist Lu with a blackened face and then turned to Madame Qiao. Madame Qiao was taken aback as well. This can't be possible. How can one turn down a friendly gesture? You offered the present so generously. How could young master have done that? It is so badly mannered. Officer Qiao was annoyed too. Young Master Xie is really ill-mannered. I should have delivered the present personally. If he had gone there personally, young Master Xie would not have returned the present, right? But there was nothing else he could do apart from complaining at this moment. He was blaming young Master Xie for not being able to understand the situation. What a pity. Officer Qiao sighed and was annoyed too. He asked with a slight feeling of jealousy. Who on earth found the 500-years-old Chinese fleeceflower root and stole the favor from me? Madame Qiao felt annoyed too. If you want to know about this, carry out a thorough investigation. Young Master Xie must have offered them a great deal of money. Those narrow-sighted people might not have seen so much money before and would definitely show it off. No one would be able to conceal the secret of finding such an aged Chinese fleeceflower root for long. It is easy to find the culprit this way. Officer Qiao thought for a while and nodded. Yes, I should definitely look into it. He should find out the culprit first, and maybe he could make use of that person to establish a relationship with the Xie family. Officer Qiao passed on the order to Strategist Lu. Strategist Lu took it as a way to compensate for his faults. He bragged that he was definitely going to find out the person within 3 days' time. He also believed that it would be so easy to figure it out. Anyone granted with such an amount of money would surely show off across the whole village. He could just ask the policemen from the governmental offices to ask around. However, 3 days passed but there was no news about any such gains. There was not a single trace of that mysterious person. Strategist Lu, who had no way to go, had to report that back to Officer Qiao. Officer Qiao was so irritated. How could he have failed at such a minor mission? He asked his own men to ask around but the result was the same. Chapter 175 Mouth Officer Qiao. Who was the person in the county that had such a wide knowledge and consideration? How did that person know that he should keep the matter a secret and make a fortune without making a scene? How horrible that person was. Officer Qiao had a desperate itch to know who that was. At the Xiao family, the first section of the family made the second and third section of the family feel really anxious. They did not dare to come to them to ask for wild animals and other benefits, even after they learned that Xiao Xiaoqi went into the mountains for hunting and Xiao Xian returned from the town. For one thing, Miss Fang was so unfriendly at the moment, and they would not be able to get anything easily at the moment. For another, what if they irritated Miss Fang so much that she would not want to help them with some rakes? Then what would they do? So they had to remain calm. Finally, Miss Fang showed mercy and told them that she was going to help them with the rakes the following day. That made the other sections of the family feel assured. They let out a sigh of relief. When they calmed themselves down, they started to talk vividly. Oh, eldest sister-in-law, finally you remembered this. Eldest sister-in-law, you are so slow, you have been postponing the spring plow. Ask Dalong, Sanlang and everyone to be there early tomorrow, we need to hurry up. In fact, you should ask more people to help us. Wang Qi, Miss Su and Miss Qiao should also be there. Miss Fang's face sank and she sneered. Just leave from here. Are you telling me what I should do? Can't I suggest something? Miss Ma's eyes rolled as she smiled. Oh, eldest sister-in-law, all of you are helping us with rakes. What other things does Miss Qiao need to be done? We can do her work and get paid. Keep dreaming. Miss Fang snapped. You always think about the benefits. Miss Fang finally drove them away. Useless people, how dare they say something like this? Xiao Xian heard her grumble and said with a smile, Mom, I just noticed that second aunt-in-law and third aunt-in-law got so angry about what you just said. You should feel happy about it. Miss Fang laughed. True, you are right. The next day, the first section of the family were still busy with their work. Before second uncle and third uncle could ask them what was going on, they were startled to see that Miss Fang had spent money hiring some family with bulls to do the work for them. Eldest sister-in-law, that is such a waste of money. People might have thought that they were concerned about the first section of the family spending their money, But Miss Fang understood exactly what they were thinking. They thought that the money of the first section of the family was theirs, and they were always trying to get money out of them. They were so concerned about spending the money that should have been theirs. I am wasting my money, so what? The job is getting done, what more do you have to say? Second uncle opened his mouth. But your sons are free. I don't want my sons to work for you, so what? Look at the rakes, I have fulfilled my promise and that is it. Third uncle countered. If you already had this plan, why not tell us earlier? Yeah, we have all been so worried. Chapter 176 Jealousy. Miss Fang smiled briefly. Well, I didn't tell you earlier because I was worried about any unforeseen changes. Second uncle and third uncle suddenly ran out of words. They exchanged a look between themselves and left. They went into the field and started to watch the people doing the rakes. They had taken advantage of the first section of the family, but it felt as if they had turned hollow inside their hearts. They did not seem to feel that good. In fact, they started to feel even more jealous. They could not help but feel emotional. It was so good to be rich and have a rich daughter-in-law. But their eldest sister-in-law had coaxed Miss Qiao for her dowry. She must be spending Miss Qiao's money which she had brought to her own pockets. But that was her daughter-in-law. Miss Qiao was so stupid as to have been cheated. Maybe they could even let their own daughters-in-law and daughters trick Miss Qiao. When Xiao Yunduan returned from the school, he brought an invitation for Qiao Xian. It was from the Qiao family. Xiao Yunduan did not turn it down directly and instead brought it home. Qiao Wei was setting up a feast for viewing flowers, and had invited Qiao Xian for it. Qiao Xian pursed her lips. She was indeed very uneasy about the invite. If you don't want to go there, you can turn it down with an excuse. Xiao Yunduan was annoyed too. He felt so horrible to see his wife being bullied, yet he could do nothing about it. He had been a calm person all through his life. He used to study hard for his parents so they could live a better life, that was all. But at this moment he had developed a profound eagerness to accumulate power. If he could become stronger, just a little bit more powerful, he could do something about the situation. Qiao Xian chuckled. Of course I will go there. She can't kill me, can she? I know what she is like. If I don't go over, she will make a big scene. Xiao Yunduan had predicted that she would react like this, so he added. I will go there with you. I will be waiting for you outside the mansion. Don't stay for too long, just find an excuse to leave early. Maybe young Master Xie's jade can be of some help. It could definitely be of some help. For someone like him who was going to participate in the imperial examination, he knew clearly what Xie Jingrong's jade could do. But he, without hesitation, let his wife have it. Qiao Xian chuckled and suddenly found that this little person was lovely. She was so lucky to have found him. No, we should not use this jade for such small things. Don't worry, Qiao Wei is arrogant and incapable. I am capable of handling her. If she just wants to take advantage of me verbally, I won't react to it and laugh with her. If she dares to do something physically, I'm not afraid of that either. I am the second miss, which I can use to frighten people every now and then. This girl looked beautiful, confident and generous. Her eyes were sparkling and she was so clever. Chapter 177 Invitation. Xiao Yunduan suddenly felt as if his heart had been attacked by something. It was a feeling of warmth, soft and heartful, which flowed all through his veins. Then you should be careful and be sure to leave early. Qiao Xian smiled. Okay. 2 days later, Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan went into the town together. Qiao Xian was well aware that Qiao Wei would like to see what a terrible life she was having, so she picked an ordinary-looking cotton dress and did a hairstyle only for married women, inserting a small silver hairpin in it. Then she added 2 commonly seen flowers that were no more than the size of a coin. She liked the beautiful roses or China roses that were fresh and blooming in her hair in daily life. But now that she was wearing the silk flowers and checked herself in the mirror, she wasn't that bad looking either. From Qiao Wei's perspective, she was really poor. Qiao Xian was very satisfied by how she was dressed. At the Dragon Boat Festival, Xiao Wei was lectured by her father and had been grounded. She kept crying and felt really sad. A couple of days ago, her mother told her that the reason why her father disciplined her like that was because he had high expectations from her, and that made Xiao Wei very happy again. But when she thought of how Qiao Xian caused all this displeasure, she thought of inviting her for the flower show. The place where the flower show took place was in an abbey in the southern outskirts of the county. The abbey did not belong to the Qiao family, but a very wealthy businessman called Old Master Xiao. Old Master Xiao had a good field of over 800 mu as well as 2 large villages and 2 stores in the county. The family lived a very luxurious life. The Xiao family had been flattering Officer Qiao all this time, and the miss of the Xiao family, Xiao Ming, was Qiao Wei's follower. Hearing that Qiao Wei was coming to the abbey for the flower show, Xiao Ming was excitedly looking forward to the visit. Apart from these 2 ladies, she had invited some other ladies from noble families. Qiao Wei could not be too straightforward, and had Qiao Ko who would act as her foil. Qiao Ko had been feeling really annoyed by how Qiao Wei and Madame Qiao stopped her from meeting Yuezheng. She had even cursed them secretly. But that was all she could do since she had no power. Hence, in front of Madame Qiao, she still behaved like an obedient daughter of a concubine and a flattering follower of Qiao Wei. Qiao Wei and her mother were aware of how concubine do and her daughter held a grudge towards them, but what could they do about it? A concubine as well as a lowly daughter could not do anything big anyway, right? They were nothing more than slaves. Qiao Ko would always have to obey Qiao Wei's rules and follow her orders no matter what. As for how Qiao Wei wanted to set Qiao Xian up, Qiao Ko became even more active and eager than Qiao Wei herself. She could not do anything about Qiao Wei, but she could definitely do something about Qiao Xian. Whenever she remembered that Qiao Xian was not living a good life, she felt slightly better. Therefore, it could be said that the dog was even worse than its master. Xiao Ming clearly understood what Qiao Ko said and had no opinions against that. She found it fun too. She was even waiting to see how Qiao Xian could be humiliated. Qiao Xian walked up to the abbey of the Xiao family under Xiao Yunduan's worried look. Instead of saying anything, she stuffed the invitation into the gatekeeper's hands. "I am County Magistrate Qiao's daughter. Is my sister here? Can I go in?" Gatekeeper. Chapter 178 Tricks. The gatekeeper's words that were meant to pick on her were all swallowed back. Qiao Xian showed the identity, and despite her ordinary-looking dress, she was still Officer Qiao's daughter, whom the gatekeeper should not mock without reason. Also, Second Miss seemed like someone who could not be irritated easily. What if she caught her fault and vented anger on her? Even her own miss would not defend her at that time. Therefore the gatekeeper made up her mind and let Qiao Xian in. She pointed in a direction and showed a passionate smile. "You are Second Miss, right? Elder Miss Qiao and Third Miss as well as my miss are all at the pavilion by the lake. Wisteria flowers are blooming. Please have a look and enjoy, Second Mississippi." What a trick. Qiao Xian immediately understood that there was something tricky in her words. She would not go there now that she had realized that something was wrong. Only stupid people would follow the direction. Qiao Xian said to the gatekeeper, "I don't know the road, can you please take me there?" "But, Second Miss," Qiao Xian showed a strange smile. "No? I am the guest here. Is it so difficult for you to take me there? Or do you think that I don't deserve your help?" "Of course not." The gatekeeper, who was an ant, had no choice but to lead Qiao Xian to the venue. She was mumbling to herself while walking. Who said that Second Miss was honest, timid and easily tricked? That person must be lying. The ant did not lead Qiao Xian there directly, fearing that her mistress would blame her for not following the order. She took her on a tour so she could at least complete her miss order. Qiao Xian soon realized what this ant was doing. But she said nothing. She did not care if she had to walk a little more. Moreover, she was not worried that the ant would take her somewhere dangerous. She could see the whole abbey when she opened her magical senses. Nothing could escape her sight. She could sense where Qiao Wei and the other ladies were and what they were doing. Suddenly Qiao Xian paused. She was both surprised and overjoyed. She saw 2 small tomatoes that were growing randomly in a corner. The 2 tomatoes were not growing in a healthy way and had collapsed. There were flowers and red fruits, but they were not very big in size. It was something the Xiao family had gotten from somewhere, but they could not recognize what these plants were, so they put them randomly in this place. No one would spend much effort planting fruits. That was why they were left alone here. It was a very good thing for her. She glanced around and saw that she and the ant were alone. Qiao Xian suddenly let out a scream and paused in her steps. "I seem to have dropped my handkerchief. Ant, please find it for me." The ant had no intention of helping her, but she suddenly thought of something and nodded immediately. Qiao Xian smiled. "You have to return and lead the way for me, otherwise I will go home." Startled, the ant said with her breath held, "Second Miss, don't worry, I definitely will return soon." She had intended to leave directly, but if Qiao Xian left because of her absence, her miss would definitely blame her. Second Miss was an honest and easily bullied person? That was incorrect. The moment that ant left, Qiao Xian went to pick up 2 large tomatoes and put them in arms. She was cheering happily inside her heart at this moment. She was going to make tomato scrambled eggs, tomato stewed tofu, tomato stewed fish, tomato brisket pot, tomato mixed with sugar, tomato sauce, tomato soup, tomato noodles, and a lot more. Chapter 179. Not an empty trip. Tomatoes were sweet and sour, and went well with any vegetables. They were good for soup. Any dishes added with tomatoes would be really sweet. Qiao Xian had the habit of putting the tomato in while making ribs in the past. It was not an empty trip. She was going to make the seeds grow faster. And she would be eating the fruits in no time. Aunt returned soon and said, "I didn't find the handkerchief. Have you remembered it wrongly?" Qiao Xian smiled. "It looks like that. Maybe I didn't drop the handkerchief. I could have come to you, but you are here already." The aunt said nothing more. She had no choice but to continue taking her forward. In fact, she almost suspected that Qiao Xian had already noticed her trick and came up with a way to make her uncomfortable. Aunt could not help but feel scared as she thought about this. She wondered what more Second Miss would do if she continued to play tricks on her. She was not at all honest. By the lakeside, Qiao Ko, Qiao Wei and Zhao Ming were talking vividly in the square pavilion. They all turned to look into Qiao Xian's direction when she arrived. Qiao Ko was the first one to react. She chuckled. "Sister, is that you? Why are you dressed like this? I thought that you were a servant of this abbey." Qiao Wei burst into laughter and Zhao Ming grinned as well. The other 4 or 5 ladies were either laughing or chose to remain silent. Qiao Xian was Officer Qiao's daughter after all, and no one was interested in getting involved in their family competition. They might even bring trouble for their own families if they did something unpleasant. Qiao Xian was speechless. What an ass-licker Qiao Ko was. She was as annoying as Qiao Wei. Qiao Xian smiled embarrassedly. This is what women from the village are like. That was what Qiao Wei wanted to hear, wasn't it? She could easily satisfy her. Sure enough, Qiao Wei looked prouder and was less sharp at Qiao Wei. Qiao Ko felt even happier by Qiao Xian's humble behavior. She instantly fell into a good mood. Weak people only became strong when they were bullying the weaker ones. Qiao Wei snorted. "You know yourself well." Qiao Ko laughed. "Sister, even if that is the truth, you should dress better at the banquet, otherwise you are humiliating our parents, right? People might think that we are stingy towards you." Qiao Xian replied instantly. "You are not stingy, you are nice to me. It is my fault not to have seen that through. Thanks, sister." Qiao Ko expected to see her humiliated and embarrassed, but she even admitted the truth generously and thanked her for the reminder. That made Qiao Ko feel stuck in words. Qiao Wei found her boring to play with. She told herself that her mother was right. Qiao Xian was a bitch and a weed by the roadside. There was no need to take her seriously. She must have seen it wrong to find her different before. Instead of speaking with Qiao Xian, Qiao Wei turned to Zhao Ming and the other ladies, ignoring Qiao Xian directly. Qiao Xian let out a sigh of relief. But Qiao Ko felt unbalanced. Chapter 185. Qiao Ko, who had been thinking about humiliating Qiao Xian, got so annoyed. Why did Qiao Wei give up tormenting Qiao Xian only after a few minutes? What was she thinking? Qiao Ko tried to come up with some ways to set her up. But Qiao Xian did not get into trouble with her. No matter how horrible her words sounded, Qiao Xian listened without countering, and occasionally she even behaved as if she were guilty. On the other hand, though Qiao Wei lost interest in speaking with Qiao Xian, when she saw Qiao Ko bullying Qiao Xian, she became interested again. She wished that the 2 concubine daughters could fight each other. However, Qiao Xian was too timid to cause any trouble, which made her lose interest. Of course, she would not want to get involved. But the sisters of the Fang family did not like it. They helped Qiao Xian out by engaging in a conversation with Qiao Xian and eased her embarrassment. Jealous and angry, Qiao Ko did not like it when someone helped Qiao Xian out. What was the point of helping her? She was just a countryside woman. She rolled her eyes and screamed. "Oh no. Sister, I just lost my jade in the water, can you help scoop it out?" "Thanks very much." They were all taken aback. The Fang family sisters exchanged a look between themselves and felt helpless. The third miss of the Qiao family was being so unreasonable. She could have asked a servant to fish it out rather than let second miss get it. Qiao Wei smiled and said nothing. Qiao Ko became more arrogant as she snapped. "Sister, you won't turn me down for such a small thing, right?" "Of course not." Qiao Xian smiled and said to the maid, "Please give me a thin bamboo pole or a wooden stick." Qiao Ko asked immediately. Why a bamboo pole? Why don't you just go down into the water? Qiao Xian answered shyly. Just let me try, okay, sister? Qiao Ko was stuck speechless. She glared at Qiao Xian and snorted. What could she say? She could not come up with a counter to that immediately. She was not stupid. If she disapproved of her suggestion, it would be visible to everyone that she was just setting her sister up. It was not a glorious action and she needed to save her face. She had already noticed people looking at her weirdly. Qiao Ko was pretending to be calm, yet she was feeling humiliated and angry inside her heart. Qiao Xian looked as if she were very honest, but she was a tricky one. The bamboo pole was finally handed over. Qiao Ko's jade was in the water grass close to the bank. With her superpower, Qiao Xian could see the spot clearly. She could control the grass with her superpower so that the grass moved and the jade simply floated out. Overjoyed, Qiao Xian had discovered one more function of her superpower. She had not thought about this and decided to make use of it properly in the future. Excited, Qiao Xian decided to explore the function further. She was going to develop it well. If she could use the superpower to control some plants, she could even protect herself. Won't she be totally invulnerable then? In front of everyone, Qiao Xian used the bamboo pole to take hold of one grass blade so the grass was tangled with Qiao Ko's jade. Chapter 181 Xiao Xian's Compensation. Xiao Xian passed the jade to Qiao Ko, and said with a smile, "Third sister, please keep it well." Qiao Ko's face sank as she took it from her with clenched teeth, forcing a smile out of her lips. "Thanks, sister." "No worries." Qiao Wei pursed her lips, thinking that she was such a useless person who could not even give her sister a hard time. Qiao Ko's obvious behavior made people feel very uncomfortable, so someone suggested that they should take a walk in the yard. The idea was supported by many people, and everyone headed towards the garden with Qiao Wei. Qiao Ko glared at Xiao Xian, but the very next second, she smiled and went after Qiao Wei instead, showing a flattering expression. Xiao Xian could not help but sigh. This sister of hers was as thick-cheeked as Ms. Niu and Ms. Ma. No wonder the original host did not have a good time at the Qiao family. Her lineal sister was so arrogant and her second sister was worse. Both of them had their own mothers as the support, but she had nothing. What could she have done? Xiao Xian raised her eyebrows and started to look around extensively. Everyone was watching the flower show, and headed forward without noticing the two-finger-thick vines stretching out, which tripped Qiao Ko over. Oh! Qiao Ko became annoyed but was worried that Qiao Wei would be displeased, so she kept flattering Qiao Wei and showed no awareness of the vines. That's how she tripped over together with Qiao Wei. The two sisters fell to the ground and the whole crowd let out a scream. "Elder Miss Qiao! Help Elder Miss Qiao up quickly." Most of the people present did not take Qiao Ko as someone important. They had seen how Qiao Wei behaved and how Qiao Ko treated her. They all thought of Qiao Ko as someone useless. Even though she fell hard, no one cared about her. But Qiao Wei fell, which was a troublesome matter. Qiao Wei was in so much pain that she turned pale. She could not regain her breath until a while later. She was snorting inwardly with hands over her knees, as she was helped up by the crowd. The maid lifted the dress and everyone gasped. There was a purple patch on Qiao Wei's knees, which was bleeding against her fair skin. It was a very shocking scene. "Bring the doctor over quickly." Zhao Ming's face crumpled as she turned to her maid and instructed. She was making complaints inside her heart. Elder Miss Qiao was hurt in her garden, and that would make her look like an irresponsible host. Elder Miss Qiao better not get mad at her. Qiao Ko was even more anxious than her. She almost wanted to kill herself. She felt like collapsing into a faint. How did this happen? She was not injured, but Qiao Wei was. "Sister." Qiao Ko sobbed. "I am sorry, I did not mean that, sorry." Qiao Wei felt like she was dying, but she had to keep her temper down in front of so many people. She bit down her anger and said, "I knew you did not mean to hurt me." Qiao Ko felt slightly assured. "Thanks, sister." Qiao Xian tried to offer some concern, but Qiao Wei was surrounded by so many people and she was directly squeezed out, so she did nothing. Qiao Xian felt slightly cheerful as she glanced at Qiao Ko. It served her right. Soon Qiao Wei was carried into a nearby room. Qiao Wei wanted to calm herself, so she only had Fendi and Qiao Ko as well as Xiling with her. When everyone else left, Qiao Wei changed her face directly as she glared at Qiao Ko fiercely. Chapter 182 Lecture. Qiao Ko shivered as she said in a trembling voice, Sister, you bitch. Qiao Wei glared at her and almost burst out in anger. She had the intention of ripping her off. Kneel down. Qiao Ko fell on the ground without any hesitation. Sister, your eyes are useless if they can't even see the road. Qiao Wei cursed with her teeth clenched. She said to Fendi, what are you looking at? Discipline her. She was suffering from so much pain and she could not tolerate the idea of having been tripped over in public. Pale, Qiao Ko begged for mercy in a small voice. Fendi was very proficient. She immediately went to pinch Qiao Ko's arms. It was early summer and people were wearing thin clothes. Arms would hurt from the pinch but the wound would not be noticed. They were guests in someone else's home and should not slap them on the face. It would be seen. Qiao Ko's head almost exploded. She, out of compulsion, could not dodge it. The tears were gathered in her eyes, but she could not cry out. She begged and said, Sister, please forgive me. Qiao Wei's anger was vented as she said coldly, You bitch, just wait until we get home. I will teach you a proper lesson then. Qiao Ko sobbed. It is my fault, I have hurt you, sister, I will definitely beg for forgiveness from mother. Please don't be mad at me. Qiao Wei snorted and stopped glaring at her. What a bitch. She was not even worth the attention. Seeing her on her knees, wiping the tears, she was still really mad at her. Qiao Ko gritted her teeth and reminded herself that she could not offend Qiao Wei, so she had to keep the hatred inside her heart. She hated Xiao Xian fiercely at this moment. She was humiliated in front of Xiao Xian. She had wanted to embarrass Xiao Xian but got humiliated herself. Qiao Ko felt increasingly annoyed. Sister, it is Xiao Xian who pushed me so I bumped into you. Qiao Wei threw a cold look at her. Qiao Wei knew clearly that Xiao Xian was not next to her, and Xiao Xian never did anything to her when Zhao Ming and the crowd were next to them. But she did not counter Qiao Ko. She did not have the intention of defending Xiao Xian. Seeing that her sister seemed to have accepted her words, Qiao Ko brought herself up and started to narrate the incident as if she were telling the truth. Sister, Xiao Xian is the real bitch. You must have noticed that. She's getting so sneaky these days. She looks as if she were down to earth, but honestly, sister, she has never had a bad day. Everyone is also saying that you are bullying her. She is just playing dumb to make herself seem innocent. Now she is married and living far away. That's why she is getting bold. She just takes advantage of the situation and is giving us a bad time. What if she does something horrible behind your back then? Moved, Qiao Wei started to think over her words and felt weird. However, Xiao Xian looked absolutely humble, but she never had a hard time. She even made herself forget about humiliating her. It all seemed so strange. Chapter 183 made Qiao Wei could not help but start to think about the past. She suddenly felt that she never had any impression of Xiao Xian at all. She was just a silent person who never drew anyone's attention. She looked honest at the moment, but she did not seem as genuine as before. Qiao Wei's face started to turn twisted. Was Xiao Xian putting on a show? Was she lying to her? What was she thinking? Qiao Ko was observing Qiao Wei, who apparently had taken her own words seriously. She could not help but chuckle inside her heart. She was trying to make Xiao Xian get sullied with all kinds of filth. Soon, Zhao Ming was knocking outside, whispering that the doctor was here. Qiao Wei threw a look at Qiao Ko. Get up. Thank you, sister. Qiao Ko answered and got up carefully with the help of the maid's hand. Qiao Wei had just skinned her knees, and the extreme pain had already passed. The doctor gave the medicine and went away. Qiao Wei was not in a mood for any more fun. Her limping leg could not take her anywhere. She even wanted to leave without eating lunch. Zhao Ming could not keep her but walked her out personally. When she left, the others did not remain there any longer and bid farewell. Xiao Xian let out a sigh of relief that she was finally going to leave. But Qiao Wei said to her, You don't come to the town often, so come back home with me and greet our mother. Xiao Xian agreed obediently and glanced at Qiao Ko. She could see how proud Qiao Ko looked. At this moment, Xiao Xian withdrew her gaze and understood that she must have played some tricks in the middle. Xiao Xian hated Qiao Ko deeply. She was like a fly who kept disgusting people. Sometimes she just did not understand what benefit would Qiao Ko get after picking on her. It was never easy to understand what these rubbish people were thinking. Xiao Xian followed Qiao Wei and Qiao Ko to the wagon and headed towards the town. Qiao Ko kept mocking her on the way there. But Xiao Xian did not counter her and stayed silent. She was going to see what Qiao Ko would get after sucking up to Qiao Wei. Qiao Wei did not mock Xiao Xian, but called out a maid called Lu Yan. She said to Xiao Xian, You are father's daughter and you don't even have a maid. Father would look bad in this way. Take Lu Yan home, she will be your maid from today onwards. Qiao Wei never mentioned anything about the maid's contract, because Lu Yan's contract was in Qiao Wei's hands. Qiao Xian was startled and she panicked. I don't think it would work, we are just a countryside family. Just take her. Qiao Wei looked impatient as she said coldly, you don't even want to accept my gift? No. Thanks, sister. Qiao Xian accepted Lu Yan reluctantly, but Lu Yan wasn't at all happy. She clearly knew that the countryside wasn't a good place to live in, and she didn't know when she would return to the town. She did not even look at Qiao Xian but kowtowed to Qiao Wei politely. She looked extremely unhappy. Chapter 184 Maid from Sister Qiao Xian ignored her reaction. Soon Qiao Xian waved them goodbye and left with Lu Yan. The moment she left, Madame Qiao turned angry seeing Qiao Wei's wounds on her knees. Before Qiao Ko could beg for forgiveness, she scolded her and grounded her for 10 days and asked her to copy 10 scrolls of Buddha scripts. Angry inside her heart, Qiao Ko looked pitiful and helpless. She had tears in her eyes but did not dare to utter another word. Qiao Xian left with Lu Yan and met up with Xiao Yunduan. Xiao Yunduan let out a sigh of relief seeing her coming back safe and sound. But he was surprised to see Lu Yan there. He turned to Qiao Xian with a look of inquiry. Qiao Xian winked at her and said pretentiously in a weak voice, "This is Lu Yan, a maid given by my sister." Lu Yan could not help but purse her lips, snorting and rolling her eyes at Xiao Yunduan. Maid? They were just poor people, how did they call her a maid? Also, her elder miss did not give her to them. She was asked to spy on them. Her contract was in her elder miss' hands, who said that when she was done with her task, she would be brought back home again. Did this couple really think that they were someone of importance? Did they think that she was going to serve them for a long time? They were just dreaming. Xiao Yunduan frowned slightly. He understood what elder Miss Qiao wanted to do. Madame Qiao must have been involved in it too. Xiao Yunduan did not show any reaction when they were in town. He nodded gently. I got it. Then let's go home. He was totally relieved to see Qiao Xian safe and sound. Yes, let's go. Qiao Xian nodded and felt a bit gloomy. She could do something about Lu Yan, but she was not going to do that right away. They had no choice but to return empty-handed, instead of buying some meat and snacks for home. What bad luck for them. The roasted chicken they bought the other day was used to save the man on the road. She had intended to buy another one today. The roasted chicken looked crispy on the surface and it must be delicious. They rented the bullock cart for their transportation. The rakes were almost done and they did not need to spend money on rakes anymore. So they had the bullock cart with them. The rent was twice as high as on regular days. Xiao Yunduan was driving the cart while Qiao Xian took the back seat. But Lu Yan did not like it. She did not even help Qiao Xian get onto the cart, and even if she saw Qiao Xian getting on the cart, she refused to do anything. Qiao Xian sneered inwardly. What was this maid thinking? She had her life at the mercy of someone else. What rights did she have to showcase her sense of superiority in front of a free woman like her? How ridiculous. But she did not bother to engage with a stupid woman like that. Instead, she said gently with a smile, the cart is a bit shabby. It is okay if you aren't used to it. You will be able to catch up with us. We won't run too fast so you can walk along. Lu Yan was startled. So, she was either taking the cart or walking. Qiao Xian was not going to hire the wagon for her. She did not have money. Lu Yan felt that Qiao Xian was actually stabbing her right in the face and she could not see what was going on. However, she was not going to walk it. She was going to travel far into the mountains, and she needed to keep her legs for such an unknowingly long trip. Chapter 185 Overcome. Lu Yan pursed her lips, but started to climb up to the cart unwillingly. When she was about to climb on, Xiao Yunduan waved the whip that hit straight on the bull's back. The bull, which got the jerk, suddenly lunges forward. Lu Yan let out a frightened scream. She took hold of the edge and climbed onto the cart in a messy way. But Xiao Yunduan did not have the intention of stopping. He did not care about the commotion behind his back. Qiao Xian asked Qiao Xian in concern. Are you all right? She almost burst into laughter but controlled it. Xiao Yunduan, who looked so honest, could even throw a prank like this. She loved it. After a long while, Lu Yan finally settled on the cart. She was furious and glared at Qiao Xian. All right? She was not at all right. Qiao Xian ignored the stare and showed a gentle smile, sounding tolerant. That is how a bullock cart works, not as comfortable as a cart, so please learn to get used to it. Having said the words, Qiao Xian ignored her and whispered to Xiao Yunduan. Looking at the shabby cart, and the chair that had been taken by Qiao Xian, she found that she did not even have anywhere to sit apart from the filthy board. Moreover, her hands were still on the board. Lu Yen felt so disgusted that she raised her hands in the air. The next second she again got flung backwards on the cart, and almost got herself smashed on the board. Feeling wronged, Lu Yen burst into tears. She felt so humiliated, but she did not want to show it. So she tried to hide the sobbing sound. Poor her. Why her? Why was she suffering from misery? She did not want to stay here anymore. She turned to Qiao Xian's retreating figure. It was the second miss who made this happen. She was going to see what second miss had so she could take revenge on her when she returned. Finally they arrived at the village. Xiao Yunduan and Qiao Xian led Lu Yen home. Seeing the shabby-looking house, Lu Yen felt even more sad. What a terrible place. Qiao Xian felt a little bit troubled too. What was she going to do about the accommodation? They had 2 rooms available, but they needed to be cleaned up. Qiao Xian presented Lu Yen to Miss Fang and Xiao Taotao. Then she turned to Lu Yen. Come and greet Madame Xiao and third miss. Lu Yen was startled. Miss Fang and Xiao Taotao were startled too. No, it is okay. Miss Fang shook her head and arms. She was not used to such behavior. Qiao Xian added. Mom, this is the maid my sister gave us. We can use her in any way we want. That is the rule. Lu Yen kneeled down and greet them. Slaves, when they met their masters for the first time, needed to kowtow. Lu Yen felt dizzy and was shocked. Was she going to greet a countryside woman and a rural girl? Second miss was mental. She was not her real master. Qiao Xian frowned. What are you doing, Lu Yen? If you don't even know about the rules, you are humiliating my parents. I will send you home so you can learn them again. Startled, Lu Yen collapsed and kneeled. Greetings, Madame Xiao and third miss. Greetings. Chapter 186 Habit. Seeing that Qiao Xian could make her kneel down so smoothly, Lu Yen could not help but feel irritated. But it was already too late. She was a maid after all and she was used to kneeling down. So she did it almost subconsciously. Xiao Taotao got so frightened that she retreated backwards, and turned to look at Qiao Xian nervously. Miss Fang was startled as well. Well, get up now? She almost reached out to help Lu Yen up, but Qiao Xian stopped her secretly. Qiao Xian turned to Lu Yen and smiled. You have done well. Get up now. From this moment on, you should settle down properly and serve us full-heartedly. Just do what you are supposed to do. Do not say anything that should not be said or do anything that should not be done. In this way you can live a good life. My mother-in-law and her family are all excellent and kind-hearted people. You can be assured. Okay, let's go and clean up your room. Qiao Xian looked at Miss Fang when she said that. Miss Fang nodded dumbly as Qiao Xian led Lu Yen to a small wing room, where she needed to clean up everything alone. She was the maid, but why must she clean up her own accommodation as well? Seeing that the light was bad and there was some mold floating in the air, Lu Yen noticed that the broken side room was filled with stuff. Everything was so filthy. She got so angry that she said to Qiao Xian, Second miss, this is not a place to live. Qiao Xian smiled. This is what the countryside is like. What about me sending you back home if you are not used to living here? Lu Yen. She wanted to do that too, but she could not leave, not right now. Lu Yen almost burst into tears. But how can I clean it up? I don't know how to do that. Second miss, please get 2 people to help me out. She worked with elder miss as the secondary maid, who had never done this kind of tough labor work. Qiao Xian stopped smiling and frowned. Who do you want me to get to help you? Me? My mother-in-law? My sisters-in-law? You are a maid and this is your work. What about you going back to the Qiao family and bringing someone over to help you? Standing there motionlessly, Lu Yen turned to look at Qiao Xian in disbelief. Qiao Xian ignored her, turned around and left. Lu Yen stared at Qiao Xian transfixedly. For a moment she almost felt that there was something wrong with Second Mississippi. But she said nothing in return. Seeing the mess in front of her, she felt so bad that she wanted to die. She was not in a mood to do anything. Qiao Xian went to speak with Miss Fang and Xiao Taotao about Lu Yan's presence here. I did not dare to tell you about this, Mom, because I was worried that you would hate me. My lineal mother doesn't like me that much and Lu Yan is here to spy on me. She might even do something to make our family worse. So, Xiao Taotao was transfixed. She always believed that fifth sister-in-law must have lived a good life at her mother's home, where she never needed to worry about anything. But it seemed that her fifth sister-in-law had not been in a good position earlier. The kind-hearted girl felt so sorry for fifth sister-in-law. She did not have a mother to love her, and did not even dare to report it to her father. It was so difficult. She was going to treat her fifth sister-in-law well, so she could live a happy life. Chapter 187 Ideas. Miss Fang was dumbfounded. She felt very sorry when she heard her daughter-in-law. She soon realized what was going on. No wonder she had felt that something was wrong right at the beginning. The Qiao family did not seem to be very passionate about marrying their daughter. She had thought it was because they never thought the Xiao family were a good match for their girl, but she never expected that it was because their daughter was not considered as someone important. Her daughter-in-law did not even bring a maid with her. She should have noticed that before. Good girl, don't be silly. I will never blame you. I will cherish you for the rest of my life. This maid is not here to serve you full-heartedly. Now that I understand that, I will not allow her to do anything bad against us. Miss Fang consoled Xiao Xian and started to feel disgusted towards Madame Qiao and her husband. She knew what she should do with Lu Yan. Madame Qiao and Officer Qiao were blind not to treat such a good girl kindly. Xiao Xian let out a sigh of relief and smiled brightly. I feel so relieved that you don't blame me. I will definitely treat you and all the siblings well. Miss Fang smiled. You are already treating them well already. Xiao Xian added. Lu Yan may not be that obedient. You have to stay alert and tell sister-in-law about her too. Miss Fang nodded. I will. Don't worry, if she ever dares to do anything, I will beat and scold her. She is just a maid, isn't she? Miss Fang, who had not been pleased with the maid, suddenly felt motivated. She found herself feeling like the master. Xiao Xian chuckled and nodded. Of course. Miss Fang was satisfied with her response. Xiao Xian went to Xiao Yunduan and discussed the matter. They had no idea what Xiao Wei's purpose was. Xiao Xian said, My lineal sister always has different ideas. I believe that Xiao Ko must have said some bad words about me. Let us just keep the maid, she won't be able to turn the table. Xiao Yunduan nodded. Don't let her know that you can make money, hide it well. Xiao Xian burst into laughter, feeling warm inside her heart. I will. She suddenly added. She should never get close to our room or touch your books, or disturb your studies. Xiao Yunduan nodded seriously. I will not allow her to get close to me at all. Xiao Xian liked what she heard and gave him a smile. When they were done talking, Xiao Xian asked Xiao Taotao to come over to her room. They took out the seeds of tomatoes and sun-dried them so they could be planted. Xiao Xian took out the seeds, spread them out in a small round dustpan covered with gauze. She said to her, Taotao, please take good care of the seeds for me. They should only be planted after being sun-dried. The fruits can be eaten as either snacks or vegetables. They are good things. Xiao Xian did not want Lu Yan to see these, nor did she want mice or birds to peck at them, so she entrusted Xiao Taotao to do the job. Xiao Taotao nodded at her and said, Don't worry, fifth sister-in-law, I will take good care of the seeds and lose none. Xiao Xian smiled. Just relax and make sure that you have some left. She believed that one seed could create a whole plain. She could make it spread faster and wider after that. Chapter 188. Feeling good, the two of them talked and then went up to the yard for a walk. There were many loquats, plums, mulberries and bayberries in the garden, which looked very attractive as they were hanging on the branches. The two of them held a few in each basket. They washed and sun-dried them so that the whole family could eat it. Wild lemons had grown quite a bit, so had peaches as well as dates, persimmons, pears, grapes and figs. The watermelon's veins were everywhere, casting a patch of greenness on the ground, looking really interesting. The watermelons were round and in different sizes. The large ones were as big as bowls. Xiao Xian felt that she could pour in some power so the watermelons could be ready to be eaten earlier. What a wonderful thing. The pomegranates were also blooming, and they were particularly bright and dazzling. No wonder there was a sentence in the ancient poem, In May the pomegranates shine brightly. The planted panax noto ginseng and ginseng had already sprouted and grown more than 2 inches tall. Gastrodia looked even more energetic and neat. Xiao Taotao was very careful and excited when seeing the medical herbs. They were all worth a lot of money. She was so happy for fifth sister-in-law, even though the plants did not belong to her. By evening the whole family was back and learned about the maid. For farmers' families it was a fresh thing, so Lu Yan attracted a lot of attention as if she were someone rare. Lu Yen started to feel quite proud inwardly. She could not help but straighten her back, thinking that these rural people must have not seen the noble air around a girl like her. The maids from large families were surely more noble than ordinary daughters. Also, she was in a better position than those from the large families, since she was working at the officer's home. These rural people must feel so ashamed and jealous seeing her. But those villagers felt strange as to why she looked so proud. Only Qiao Xian and Xiao Yunduan could tell what she was thinking, and they rolled their eyes inwardly. Qiao Xian decided to get 2 crucian carps from the backyard water tank and braised them. There were many fish and shrimps in the river, and Xiao Xiaoqi always brought back some and added them to the water tank when they ran out of ingredients. Qiao Xian was used to making meat dishes, and Miss Su as well as Xiao Taotao would take care of the preparations. Seeing Qiao Xian working so hard in the kitchen, Lu Yen stayed far away from them, fearing that Qiao Xian would ask her to help as well. She laughed at Second Mississippi. She was even worse than a maid like her. She had never needed to do any work in the kitchen. She was going to remember this and tell Elder Miss about this. Her Elder Miss was definitely going to be very happy. Qiao Xian made braised carps, steamed eggs, and then walked out of the kitchen. Miss Su made fried yam slices and stewed beans. They added a bowl of sponge gourd and the whole family started to eat together. Before Lu Yen could see the dishes, Qiao Xian took her to the kitchen. "We don't have any rules here, you don't have to stay by our side when we eat. You can eat in the kitchen if you want to." Lu Yen. Staying by their side? What were they dreaming about? Chapter 189. Too lazy. Thinking that the rural people did not live in a luxurious state, Lu Yen refused to eat with them on the same table. So she nodded and left. Qiao Xian smiled and went for lunch, leaving Lu Yen alone in the kitchen. Lu Yen looked at the dish that was left for her. There was half a bowl of rice with yams and beans as well as some slices of gourd. All were vegetables and there was not much oil in them. How could this be edible? Miss Fang told Miss Qiao to put in as many seasoning spices as possible, which was much better than before, considering that the family had plenty of money for the moment. At least right now the dishes were not tasteless. But compared to the kitchen of the county magistrate's home, the dishes definitely paled in comparison. Lu Yen was a secondary maid who was used to eating meat during every meal. Whenever Qiao Wei was happy, she would even give the maid some desserts or leftovers of the delicious dishes. So, Lu Yen was not at all used to the poverty she had to face now. Seeing the rice and vegetables, Lu Yen suddenly felt unhappy. How could this food be eaten? She was not satisfied, but Qiao Xian, who was very cautious towards her and could punish her whenever she made mistakes, would never mistreat her. If she were in anyone else's family, she would not even end up being given a bowl of rice. Lu Yen could not stand it anymore. She ate a small portion of the dish, put down the chopsticks and bowl and returned to her wing room. She kept sobbing lying on the hard and shabby wooden bed. Lu Yen had a very difficult time throughout the night. The following day when Lu Yen woke up, she was feeling very sore on her limbs and back. She felt like dying all alone in this place. But she was here on a mission and she could only leave when she was done with the task. That made Lu Yen feel motivated. Her mission was not about serving the whole family, so she refused to get out of the bed when she woke up. What if she was asked to do hard labor work? Lu Yen did not get up until a long while later. Miss Fang was alone at home taking care of her grandchildren. The others were out for work except for Xiao Yunduan, who was studying in the room. Qiao Xian was making lipsticks in the floral field. Miss Fang would have gone out with her grandchildren to visit others, but for the fact that she had to keep an eye on Lu Yen. She glanced at Lu Yan's room, feeling very displeased. How could a maid be so lazy? She should have been sold away. Lu Yen combed her hair, washed her face and found 2 steamed buns for breakfast. She ate them up in silence. The steamed buns were cold and stiff. For Lu Yen they were like wax. Lu Yen was greedy for the steamed buns with meat and ground meat porridge. She desperately wanted to go back to where she came from. Lu Yen gave herself a pep talk and then went up to Miss Fang. "Greetings, Madame Xiao," she came to Miss Fang and said with a flattering smile, "Young master grandson and lady granddaughter are so good-looking. They must have a great fortune in the future." Xiao Junyan and Xiao Qing were eating loquats and plums, seated on the chairs next to Miss Fang. The bright yellow loquats and dark red plums were big and plump, and the juice flowed across the lips when they took a bite. The flesh was thick and tender and the fruit was full of flavor. The 2 children ate everything with relish and had satisfied smiling faces. It looked delicious at first sight. Lu Yen could not help but feel like eating the fruit as well. She gulped down the saliva and reached out for the basket. Chapter 190. Not her. Miss Fang moved the basket and snapped at her. You are not at all honest. You are such a lazy maid. Even the most lazy woman in the village wakes up at this hour and does not even get to eat porridge. Lu Yen sneered and thought that she was not a woman from the village anyways. Lu Yen felt humiliated when she was snapped at by an elderly woman from the countryside. She forced a small smile out of her lips. You are right, Madam Xiao, I will correct myself. Where is second miss? Is she also working in the field? Of course. Miss Fang snapped at Lu Yen as she pursed her lips. We need to eat by doing labor work. You can sweep the yard, the broomstick is in the corner. That is your job from this day on, one sweep in the morning and the evening, no early sweeping in the afternoon, wait until the ducks, chickens and geese all return to the nests. Lu Yen felt even worse when she heard about her task. Madam Xiao. Lu Yan's smile stiffened as she said unhappily, but I am here to serve second miss, and I can't do such heavy labor. I'm not good at it either. There is such a thing as serving. Miss Fang's eyes arose as she sneered. Let me tell you, Miss Qiao is working at our home, and your status is even less than hers. What are you countering me for? One more word and I will slap you right on the face. Lu Yan's face turned pale. She was startled. She believed her words completely. Rough women from the countryside always hit or scolded people, instead of talking reasonably. She could look down at Miss Fang and her family in her heart, but she could not dare to counter Miss Fang if she really slapped her. It is my fault, I am sorry. Madam, don't be mad, I will sweep the floor now. Instead of arguing, Lu Yen started to sweep the floor. Miss Fang frowned. Xiao Taotao had swept the floor early in the morning. Lu Yen could never do a good job. This was such a mess. Miss Fang looked down at her inside her heart. What was she doing here, and she even wasted their food? Miss Fang wanted to drive her away directly if she could. Lu Yen sneaked back to her own room, when she saw that Miss Fang was not paying attention to her. The broken wing room was a poor place, but it was much better than doing the labor work. She was very worried that Miss Fang would make her do the hard tasks again. Lu Yen kept herself hidden from everyone. Xiao Xian as well as the rest of the family did not care, because they never expected her to do anything in the first place. Xiao Xian even was worried that Lu Yen would seduce Xiao Yunduan, but it seemed that Lu Yen was avoiding the brothers of the Xiao family, fearing that she would be too attached. That made Xiao Xian feel quite assured. Lu Yen did not dare to irritate Miss Fang, so she tried to get close to Miss Su and Xiao Taotao, hoping to get some news about Xiao Xian from them. But Miss Fang had told Miss Su and Xiao Taotao not to say anything, so her attempts failed. They were worried not to be able to counter Lu Yen, who might use tricky means, so they kept silent and said nothing. Without any way out, Lu Yen failed to get any valuable information for elder Miss Qiao, so she clenched her teeth, and expressed that she was going to keep Xiao Xian company to do labor work in the fields. But Xiao Xian turned her down. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Wuxia Chronicles YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.